Hello everyone, Felix here. We got Mechanical Marvels is back, and we have a very special guest. Say hi, Terrible Artists. You've been a
Hey, what's
fixture in
up?
my chat for quite a while.
We taught Felix how to be a proper bottom one night.
I wasn't listening. I was checking. Okay, they can hear your voice. I don't know what the fuck you said, but they can hear your voice. Chat can hear your voice. Anyways, so I brought him on as a sort of car expert. I did say the last time I wanted to do these. Hold on. Let me share my. Can I share my screen? Yeah. Um. Let me share screen so like he knows what I'm looking at without having to look at the stream.
All right.
So anyway, so a while ago I was coming up with ideas for what to do with the next Mechanical Marvels on. I decided, I've been looking a little bit too much into the more military styled stuff, and I like those. I like weapons, I like guns, I like that. But I wanted to take a look more at the civilian side of things, and I demonstrated quite early on. I am down bad for what we would consider land yachts. What we would consider.
Yeah, he showed me his Facebook someplace. It was nothing but lunar material for like 1970 plan yachts.
What is it? Oh, I couldn't hear you that time.
Well, yeah, you showed me his Facebook marketplace. It was nothing but like lunar material for like land yachts.
Yeah, this is my taste. This is my like. Besides, I like European cars. I do like Japanese cars. But if you've looked at at least one of my streams where I've looked at cars before, or even mentioned cars, these have come up. These have come up. These just giant, hulking American machines.
Oh,
The
yeah.
sort of fixture of this fixture of the highway that was there for a while, but we lost so much of them because you don't see those. You don't see these anymore. You really don't see.
No.
You really don't see these anymore. But starting off, I think yeah, let's go into the origins. I brought on Terrible Artist here as a sort of because he's supposed to be the car expert. He's supposed to be the car guy. He told me like, oh, I don't know too much, but I said, well, you're supposed to be the
I know enough.
yeah, he knows enough. He knows enough. But yeah, I think a good place to start would actually probably be so. I think it all started a little bit before World War II. A little bit before World War II, this sort of traditional luxury car like the Duesenbergs
Yeah.
and the Rolls Royces, these giant Cruella de Vil monstrosities with the long hoods and the they call this the classical style, from what I remember.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a lot of luxury brands even in the 20s, right? But they all got pretty much nuked in like because of the depression.
Hold on, can you speak up? I don't think I can hear you.
Yeah, there was quite a few like luxury brands like the in the 20s that basically got nuked by the depression.
Like I think they mentioned it here, like Duesenberg. Yeah, the Duesenberg that only lasted until the 1930s, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, because that I think no, maybe not, but I think there. Yeah, there was a lot of. I'm trying to remember the specific kinds. I know Stanley Steamer. Like, yeah, everyone associates it with the cleaning brand, but that used to be a steam car brand of these like big luxury cars that came out. I think it was before Ford, but they didn't last very long. Yeah, oh yeah, they mentioned it here a lot. Delahaye, Talbot Lego. Yeah, the original Bugatti was this subset of ultra luxury car, and I think after that, yeah, North American manufacturers. It goes into detail here. There's this really cool guy on YouTube called Ed's Car Reviews, and he goes into
Yep.
hard into a lot of the elements of what could be considered land yachts, or I have them pulled up here. Yeah, I'm not gonna watch any of his videos because I don't want to like piggyback on his content too much, but a
Oh,
lot of these, a lot of these are certainly what we would consider to be the land yacht spec of these giant American classic cars, these antiques.
okay.
And I would say the land yacht as we know it today, as like the traditional body plan of it, started after World War II, when like wartime, like the Great Depression is over, wartime rationing is over. Because before then, most consumer cars were just cars. They were pretty, but they weren't designed to be these giant, these very long, very ostentatious vehicles. They
Oh yeah,
weren't very. They were
basically built for just doing stuff.
Yeah, you can kind of see even like the luxury sedans of the 1940s during the war and during the Great Depression. They were scaled back. They had big hoods because it was tradition at the time, but it was just a small cab, like a small passenger compartment. You didn't have much of a trunk. It was pretty, but it was a little bit more minimalist for the time. And then immediately once you get into the 50s and 60s, you get these very these long wheelbase cars.
Yep.
These
Yep.
yeah,
It's
the
post economic boom. And
yeah, the post-war economic boom that really instilled that we can do anything at this point. This big 50s post-war capitalist America that really loved everything. Like we came out of the war wealthy, and we're like the people are wealthy and they're gonna enjoy it. And that's when I think that was the birth of this one, the personal luxury car. This is what we would consider the basis for the land yacht. Yeah, mass market coupes that emphasize comfort over performance. You had these like the Thunderbird. You had the Cadillac Eldorado.
Yep.
I love those, man. These are beautiful. Yeah, expensive niche market, low volume vehicles, quasi custom models. Because I think a lot of this stuff, a lot of these originals, like the original Bugattis and the Rolls Royces and the Duesenbergs, these were um these were coach built. These were coach built.
Yep.
Everything was custom. Literally, you had to be rich enough to order the body for yourself.
Oh,
The
yeah.
manufacturer would supply you with the chassis and the engine and like the basic internals, but all the interior and everything else had to be custom spec by a different manufacturer as specified by the customer. That went away in the 50s because I think from the war they carried over a lot of what do you call it, manufacturing techniques, these assembly line manufacturing techniques that got carried over from the war got instilled into like all these civilian industries, which let them build these massive cars, these very pretty and very large luxury cars that didn't have to be custom. They were just mass market. They were just produced on a wide scale. They were rich,
Yeah.
like they looked like rich people cars, but they were for the people.
Yeah, it's sort of similar to like how like cause the steam train, a lot of those steam trains were like custom built, but when they went to diesel, it was all standardized pretty much.
So you're saying it's like a similar, like
Yeah.
the steam train,
They
the
happened
car.
right about the same time,
Could you say
you know,
that again?
yeah, it happened right about the same time too. Like a lot of the steam trains, right? They're all like custom ordered, custom built and shit. And then when you got to like the diesels, they were pretty much all standardized.
Yeah. So everything had to be custom at first, but then they got brought into the industry and they had to be mass manufactured and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, overall, it's this kind of, it exploded in the 50s because this was the golden age of making these personal luxury cars, as you could see here,
Oh yeah.
the Lincoln Continental, the Cadillac Eldorado, the Chevy. I would consider the Chevy Bel Air and the Ford Fairlane to be in that category as well. Yeah, if you look at the first generation, they're not
Oh, yeah.
as large as they would get later on, but the sedan versions of these, which I would consider to be the true land yachts, because I don't think sedans were too popular at this time, even for families. For some reason,
lot-
at least.
A lot of them I think were still like wagons. Like they're just the same, basically the same car, but like take out the trunk and just add another row and everything. So
They
it's
didn't
like,
have they didn't add in like an extra door
in the back, of course, but you know.
in the back. Okay, so yeah, we did have some discussions whether station wagons would be considered land yachts or not, and he
I
argued
would,
that it would, and I can see his point because
I'd
a
say,
lot of,
yeah, yeah. I was like more like 50-50 because like they were about the same time and they kind of died the same way.
because of these it was this evolution of the big car that they tried
Yep.
to make it more efficient by adding in this extra space for passengers and like and cargo. And I think, yeah, in a way, the station wagon is probably the most present, the most well known
Mm-hmm.
version of the land yacht for the American family for a while. This was kind of the stereotypical American family car for like multiple decades, from the 50s through the
Yep.
90s even. The
Mm-hmm.
wagon was the standard American family car until the SUV came along and basically
Oh yeah.
stole its niche.
Yep. Yeah, the SUV pretty much, and the minivan pretty much just killed the wagon.
Yeah, and I remember as a kid, I didn't like whenever I saw these in movies. I didn't like them too much. I didn't like the wood grain, but I liked the cars they were based on. And looking at them now, especially as they really don't exist anymore, like the only times I saw station wagons were either in movies or as a really young child. I think because I was born in 2003.
Oh,
All the
same.
wagons were like dead by now, right? By that time,
Yeah,
right?
I know they have the Ford Taurus, right? But like even then, like people were just getting the regular Ford Taurus.
Yeah. Everyone just want I think even some Japanese manufacturers, I know my dad had the TSX, the Acura had an
Mm.
Acura TSX, and I think there was a wagon variant of that, but that didn't last very long because it just wasn't a viable thing anymore. If you wanted like a big seer, you got an SUV. But I think we're jumping ahead of ourselves too much. Going back to
Yeah,
the original personal luxury car, looking at these and looking at the versions here, a lot of the examples that I pulled up, I feel like a lot of cars back then were just Kia coupes or coupes. They
oh yeah,
weren't
yep,
they weren't sedans. Those were for the realm. I think the only
yeah.
times
I
I've seen. Oh, you go ahead.
I think it took a little longer for the sedans to come around because like because like 4 doors, it just took a little while for 4 door cars to get going and everything.
I don't know.
And it was
I don't know why, because
and,
you'd
and it
think
was
it'd be easier to just extend the wheelbase and incorporate an extra door
I
instead
think I
of
think it was
having
just
this whole seat folding arrangement.
I think it was just cheaper at the time.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah, because you see a lot of these examples, and if you look back to a lot of older movies that featured these kinds of cars, they didn't
Mhm.
have very much. They didn't have very much sedans. Those were usually either limos or some kind of executive car. If it was a personal vehicle, it tended to be a coupe, despite the kind of overall need for like if you're carrying more than two people. But then again, this was the age of couch seats,
Oh yeah,
of bench
benches.
seats.
Yeah.
So I guess that kind of applied there, where you like everyone would just get in the front. You that would
Mhm.
bench seats kind of went away a lot on modern cars. That was part of the
Yeah,
charm.
I know. I know when regular cab pickup trucks still get them right because I mean as like a base option, but like outside of that, you don't see them too often anymore.
Yeah, you don't. You think it was because of safety reasons that
I
this wasn't
imagine
safe? We
so.
have to.
I imagine so. It was just plus like I think it was everybody getting their own like captain chairs, basically just like it was safe. It was like quote unquote safer.
Quote unquote safer. Yeah, because
Yeah.
it was easier to install seatbelts on bucket seats.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I remember because the bucket seat is this kind of the standard for most car seats now.
Yep.
Even though back then you had to specify that it had bucket seats because of those were typically a racing thing to save weight. I think that's what it was back then.
I imagine so. Yeah, I'm just
They
trying
had
to
to be
think
like
like
specific specifications. that yeah, these were couch seats. These were this Fairlane was a bench seat. Yeah, this went away pretty quick. You had that divider there. You don't see the well, not quick, but you just don't see these anymore, and it's fascinating.
No, yeah, no, it's yeah, I know, like, I think I want to say in cars, it probably disappeared right about the 90s in like regular cars, probably about 80s too.
So they came out they went away later than I expected.
Yeah, yeah, because I know a lot of older cars, like just regular models, they would have them, but it's like for like a lot of like any other car, right? Like more trim options and shit, they're basically gone.
Yeah,
And
and
again,
overall,
that kind of depended on like trim model and manufacturer.
yeah. And I think it's worth noting that despite a lot of these, like, ironically, these big cars originated in Europe, as we can see, like, these were British, these were French, these were
Yep.
German, the original hyper luxury cars, the coach built ones. But then you get to the US, and you get to the US in the invention of the land yacht, and all of these were a
Oh yeah.
uniquely American thing. This didn't happen in Japan. This didn't happen in Europe. This certainly didn't happen in places like Russia where communism took hold and like these were only seen as limousines or in the hands of official of party officials. This was a uniquely American thing. This didn't
Yep.
I think the only other place this existed in the world was Australia, but
Yeah,
even
Australia.
Australia, because it was American car companies, but utilizing Australian designs to produce there,
Mm-hmm.
and those were the Holden and Ford Australia. Those were the ones. Hold on, Holden,
Yep, Holden Chevrolet,
Holden and Chevy.
and no longer is around.
Yeah, these were still compact for the size. These were more
Yep.
to the British specification. To compare, like I think a good comparison is the most produced Ford in the UK in the United Kingdom. This was the Ford Cortina. This was popular at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty small, pretty reasonable for the time,
Oh yeah.
and
I mean,
yeah,
Britain's
these are nice
almost
cars. Don't
obsolete.
get me wrong. I like these cars. I love the Cortina. But then you have the Ford Galaxy. This was standard in the United States at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the size comparison
Yeah.
between this and this.
Yeah,
This was
I think the big reason it happened like that over here is it's like there's a lot more space for you to go and everything, a lot more
yeah,
landing.
suburbs were bigger. Even
Yep.
during the suburbia explosion in Europe, all the suburbs and rural areas in the US were just so much bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
And
a
yeah,
part of it is because of their roads. We America evolved on the highway system. This was for
yep.
Europe, this was excessive. For us back then, this was a lot. This was necessity, really. You needed
Mm-hmm.
these kinds of big cars to haul everything you wanted across the country before the age of, I guess, before the age of SUVs.
Yep.
These were the biggest cars you could get, and this was just the norm. This was just the
Mm-hmm.
norm because we evolved around the highway system. We were on the road. Meanwhile, over there, because of the extensive train networks over in Europe,
And
this
yeah,
wasn't
and
nest.
even then, without even if you ignore the trains, Europe is like tiny and compact compared to the United States.
Yeah, yeah. The UK, like for example, the UK is the size of it. Like it's smaller than this. It's smaller than New England. England is small,
Oh
is
yeah.
drastically smaller,
Mm-hmm.
and it really is interesting because over there, a long car ride is like 4 hours or 5 hours. Over here, it can go on for 7 or 8 as the
Mm-hmm.
norm. Truckers are expected to go are expected to go for even longer, and
Mm-hmm. Oh
it just really is interesting how everything just evolved to be bigger here. And with that came,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
as you can see. between the between this and the between this and the Cortina, a lot of it seems like they had similar design philosophies. You had like a little bit of the fins, you had a little bit of the exposed headlights. Over
Mhm.
here with the Ford Custom and the Ford Galaxy, these were you could see the more elaborate designs. They allowed themselves, when you had that chrome bumpers that became kind of the
Yeah,
icon for American cars
yeah,
of the
that
time.
bumper that almost looked like a spaceship and everything.
Yeah, because this was the space age. It was space travel was beginning to be a thing. This was the nuclear age. They wanted everything to
Mhm.
be cool and futuristic, and this was cool and futuristic for the time. And I wish I just really like this aesthetic so much.
Mhm.
If you look at this, like all this, it was so elaborate. It's maximalist. This is why I feel like fundamentally I'm not a fan of minimalism in art, because
Mhm.
you had so much interesting and intricate detail with this sort of thing, with like they can see here with with the Ford Galaxy, and this extended well into the 70s, even when the cars themselves were beginning to suffer, were beginning
Oh
to
yeah.
yeah, they weren't
Yeah.
they weren't very good under the hood anymore, but they
No,
still
they
looked
weren't.
so cool.
Mhm.
I think in the 60s they experimented with minimalism, which is why you can see on the Ford Mustang and like the smaller cars like the pony cars, there was less headlights, less chrome, more angles.
And yeah, they also experimented the hell out of like pop ups and everything too.
Oh yeah, pop up headlights.
Like 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 not pop ups as like we would know them, but like literally this little like what was it, bars that would go up and down just to cover the headlights and everything.
I think that was present on that was the garage style headlights, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
I
on the
think so. That's what's coming to my mind anyway. So it's like yeah.
mm.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, going into yeah, a lot of these in the 50s, they just kind of went wild. They didn't have a care, and this is part of the appeal, which is why one of the like I'm gonna kind of spurg off into like fictional territory. I can't help myself. If you're familiar with Fallout, if you're familiar with the Highwaymen from Fallout,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the original series wasn't leaning too hard in 1950s aesthetics. It was there, but it wasn't the biggest part. But
No.
one of the biggest parts was the Highwaymen, was the this sort of, and you can see a lot of the cars in Fallout
Mm-hmm.
are heavily inspired by genuine the genuine article of the time that really did look
Mm-hmm.
like this. The well, it looks. Oh man,
You
looking
showed
at
me the
Monte,
yeah. You showed like
looking
that
at the
Monte
difference between
Carlo.
like the Chevy Monte Carlo that we have here,
Mm-hmm.
it's so it's not it like you had this impressive
Mm-hmm.
looking vehicle. Even when it was minimalist, you could still have these lines, but it doesn't. It's just a blank slate now. I don't. We lost so much. We lost so much. You can see the difference. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
these, the Chevy Bel Air, the Plymouth Fury. Where's that? Yeah, the Plymouth
Yeah.
Fury. When I look at the Highwaymen from Fallout and the Corvega, and a lot of these were inspired by by the cars of the era that I feel like we lost artistically. And
Mm-hmm.
that sort of retrofuturistic design is part of the appeal of why I like the art style so much. And it's something that I noticed because what I decided to look into doing this stream was the because I was getting clips of the movie Christine. I was getting
Oh yeah.
yeah. I don't like Stephen King. I don't like his stories, but I think Christine is interesting because especially with
Yeah.
horror movies or like around cars, that was a big thing for a while. I feel like in the 80s and 90s, and but the sort of demonstration that look Christine here, which is a Plymouth Fury, it is like it's she's not quite She's not quite the size of a land yacht, but it could be argued this definitely
But
fits
she's
the
massive.
aesthetic. Hmm?
But she is massive.
Yeah, she is massive. And I took a look at this and I realized this is the Highwayman. This is the Highwayman from Fallout. This is what the Plymouth Fury or Christine. This is what the Highwayman was intended to be based off, or I guess the Chevy Bel Air, which I mentioned here a lot. I remember having a toy of this of a police car styled after a 57 Chevy Bel Air.
I think I
That's
had that. I think I had that too. I think it was a
Yeah,
matchbox.
it was this big die cast kind of thing, this big metal
Oh, big
thing.
die. I just had a little
Yeah, I
matchbox.
love those. And I remember I was trying to recognize it by the taillights, by this sort of iconic tail, like this fin
Mm-hmm.
taillight setup, where you'd have it on the rear, you'd have that monolithic bumper on the end with the what looks like faux exhaust pipes. I think those were popular at the time. They were on the original Mustang as well. Those faux pipes that came out of the back.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I remember seeing it in a movie. I think it was of all things because my mom was watching
And
Dirty Dancing.
that's the thing about that's the thing about like like faux exhaust pipes versus what we have now. Like there's a fake garbage, non-existent exhaust pipes in the back. It's like one
Yeah,
looks good, the other just looks like trash.
yeah.
You know?
It like we used to know. I don't know where the where at some point along the way the design language just stopped. It just abruptly stops on so many of these cars, and we're gonna go into that for a bit. But looking into the land yacht concept as it is, yeah, American cars, European
Mm-hmm.
cars, because you all of these, if you can, these were a uniquely American thing. Yeah, the European cars, all of
Mm-hmm.
these, the Mercedes-Benz 600, like the Grosser, the Rolls-Royce Phantom, the Aston Martin Lagonda, these are all meant to be limousines. These are essentially limousines or hyper luxury cars.
Mm-hmm.
These were meant for the average consumer. As long as you could afford it, this was available.
Yep.
This was meant for the average middle class American, or if even if you were poor, you could just get an older model, and that would be perfectly viable. You would have a big car, and it was cheap for the time.
You just go get an AMC.
Yeah. I just but now they're so big in value nowadays that you can't really find them unless there were like a shit Malaysia car like
Yeah, like the
the Ford
Pacer.
Ghia or the Ford Pinto. Well, I wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
consider those land yachts, but they were sort of in
No.
that like they were ugly then, but they look so pretty now.
Yeah, I imagine that's probably how people thought of like my dream car, which is the Ford Maverick.
Oh, I like the Maverick. I quite like the Maverick.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm gonna pull up the terrible
Don't
honor.
even get me don't even get me started on the new Ford Maverick.
Well, this is the original 1970. Yeah,
Yep.
this kind of it looks like the Escort. It kind of looks like the
Mm-hmm.
European model of the Escort, but it's just longer, extended. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so we replaced the Falcon. These were compacts, but
Yep.
this is around the size of like hatchet of like well of SUV hatches or short sedans nowadays. These were
Mm-hmm.
still pretty reasonably big for compact
Yep.
cars. They didn't look too much like yeah, I really like this. I think they took elements from the Cortina, but they made it more American. They made it more
Mm-hmm.
stylized, right?
Yeah.
That sort of
And
common body.
yeah, you know it's big when they literally threw I think I forgot the motor, but I knew they threw a big ass V8 in there.
Oh yeah,
One of the models.
one of the models was a V8.
Mm-hmm.
What was the engine? Yeah, through a Windsor. I think was it the Windsor?
Yep.
The Windsor small block?
Yeah, 302. Yep.
Yeah,
Which is a big ass motor for that little
yeah.
car.
A lot of it's interesting because a lot of these yeah, and we're gonna go into these, gonna go into
Oh,
lowriders
I
and
hate
pit.
the Chicano flag so badly.
Yeah, it looks like the Nazi flag
Yeah,
or the
no, it's
Bolshevik
like
flag. I don't know why. I think it was like I think it was a thing because they were
it
like
was
trying to be
it was.
socialist or whatever.
I know they had like that flag for like the what was it, I think like the farmers union now, like the farm laborers union.
Yeah, I can't remember his
But
name. The Mexican laborers like the
Ooh,
Mexican American Citizens
I
Labor
want to say
Union.
Hugo Chavez, but I think that name's wrong.
Yeah, I don't know why they chose that flag, but going into that, going into the lowrider,
Mm,
this is kind of inseparable from the concept of the land yacht. These like all these like the pitmobiles, gangster cars,
yeah.
lowriders and high riders, all of these kind of require
Mm,
it's not a lowrider or a pitmobile unless it's a land yacht. And well, I guess you
mm.
have your exceptions like this pickup here.
I think the biggest exception is like the Mexican guys that will be driving like slammed like quarter ton trucks and everything with like giant ass wheels that are slammed to the ground.
Oh, I haven't seen those. I haven't seen much of those. But
Yeah.
here in Florida, um, like you can see a lot of lowrider adjacent style cars that were like these are pretty common around like the more urban areas that I go into and like the city areas. A lot of people like to dress their cars up like these.
Mm.
And I haven't seen like sometimes it's easy to confuse like a pitmobile, but I have seen my share of pitmobiles, like unironic pitmobiles on the streets of where I live in Florida. I've seen my share of these like genuine article ones.
Mhm.
Yeah, and as you can see, they require the original wheelbase of a
Yeah.
land yacht. Even the older ones, yeah, the Saudis also Jones for Lincoln Marks. Look how long that car is, man. It's so
Yeah, no, yeah,
something I wanted to ask you
everything.
about is a lot of the
Yep.
on a lot of older cars, they don't have a vent on the underside of the grill, but if you look at modern cars, you have like the vent seems to have grown larger. Why is that?
Mm. I think it's like back. I want to say back then. I don't think like a lot of cars were like required that much coolant and shit, right? I mean, they were all carburetor and everything, right?
A carburetor?
Yeah. Now a lot of cars nowadays are EFI and shit, but it's like I think it's mainly just like bigger radiator sizes than there was back then.
EFI?
Yeah, I don't know why, but I think it's mainly just a radiator size because like I've seen the radiator in my uncle's old truck versus like my truck, which are only a few years like older, and they're completely different size and shit. I think
Uh,
it's mainly just like it's mainly bigger radiator sizes. Yeah, you look at that S10, it's like or that Sonoma, it's like yeah,
they need the extra air to get to supply for the radiator.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So I
I
know
guess it kind of makes sense. A
I
lot
know
of
that's where the radiator's at, but yeah.
yeah, if you look at a lot of these cars, a lot of the like the sort of the front ends of them used to be a lot narrower with a lot narrower grills.
Mhm.
If you especially during the 60s and the 70s, yeah, these weren't like these were pretty small intakes, and you go down enough. Well, it's still pretty large here, but they didn't
Yep.
have that prominent underscoop here. That's kind of basically standard on a lot of modern
Yeah,
cars.
I know. I think a lot of like the newer cars, they also got vents for airflow and everything too.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But anyway, going into low riders, it was basically an icon of these were like yeah, you had elements of black culture at the time, you
Yeah.
had elements of white culture at the time, Mexican culture. These were inseparable from the idea of the American car. These were alien in every other part of the world. And then
Oh yeah.
and well, except for one place, I guess, in a way, and that's Cuba. Yeah, classic
Yeah.
American cars in Cuba. I mentioned this during my Black Ops stream. Like, I took a break from talking about the guns to talk about the cars. They were using a Mercedes, I think 300
Mm.
in the Cuba levels to escape from the cops, which bugged me to no end when it was pointed out because there were so many pretty cars that they could have used as a stand-in,
Mm.
and the one that I focused on, and what forms the thumbnail is where is that? Well, the Ford Fairlane. The thumbnail shows us riding in a Ford Fairlane, and that is
Mm-hmm.
in that 57 Ford Fairlane. This would have been pretty popular in Cuba at the time because
Yep.
they imported their cars straight from the US. And even now,
Mm-hmm.
the term Yank tank is the common term for American cars in Europe. And now I have seen American cars in Europe. I
Uh,
like they do exist.
I've seen my fair share of like pickup trucks in Europe. They're like clearly from the United States and everything.
Where did you go? What country?
I I've no I went I always sometimes check like other countries' Facebook Marketplace, right?
Oh,
And at one time I looked at in Netherlands, right? Someone was selling a F450 Dual, and I was like, damn,
oh wow.
how the hell did you get that over there?
I remember was like I was on my doing a tour, doing a walking tour of the of what is it? Yeah, in Milan in Italy, and out
Mm-hmm.
of fucking nowhere was this genuine um. It was a Camaro. It was I think a 1970s Camaro driven by
Mm-hmm.
this like old Italian man in this full size American car in the streets of because Milan is a relatively compact city.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those old European cities where only compact cars and like horses would have walked. And out comes this massive Camaro, this massive Camaro. I think it's a Z. What was it?
I think
Um
yeah, if you said Z, it would probably been 28.
what is it? It was the yeah, second gen Camaro, the second gen the Z, yeah, was it the Z28? I'm not sure. But it was, yeah, it was this. It wasn't the SS package, but it was one of these. With the early 70s Camaros with the angled front grill and everything. It
Oh,
was
the angle drill, yeah,
it was
probably
so
the
surreal.
Z77.
And it was
Yeah,
basically confirmation. Yeah, American cars are everywhere. It's distinctly American, but it's
mm-hmm.
sort of it's a piece of Americana. People don't buy it because they want it as a car. Like they want it as a car. They buy it because they want to experience this sort of bygone era of American culture.
Mm-hmm.
And because this only really evolved in this sort of brand of street racer or extend like these big cars only came like as I keep mentioning, they only came about as a result of being in the States.
Yep.
Not a lot of other countries have the sort of space where these kinds of cars can develop. And I
Mm-hmm.
think it was just convenient in Cuba that because it was easy to import because America
Oh
was
yeah,
just
like
right there.
mm-hmm.
And you have this massive yeah, the Edsel Pacer.
Double.
That it's a devilish looking car, but I
That
really
that's such an that's actually the oddest thing to be in Cuba. I'm not gonna lie.
what is it?
That's probably one of the odder things to be in Cuba.
Yeah.
Like an Edsel at all.
I mean, it was around for a while, arguably. And as you can see, most of these were smaller cars, more smaller like earlier 50s cars. Well, no, you don't. You have a 58 Plymouth, like
Yeah.
this full wheelbase car in the tiny streets of Havana. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the term Yank tank is also used in Australian slang to generally describe any American car considered to be too large and unwieldy, such as Cadillacs and modern SUVs. And I think around this time we should bring up what happened in the 1970s that made all of this a little bit the
A
the, the
little bit
design was still
crazy.
interesting, but the
Mm-hmm.
interior, like what was under the hood, suffered a lot.
Oh yeah.
You wanna lead us into this one? Terrible artists.
Yep. Hold up. Yeah. So I stun locked myself. Shit.
You okay?
Uh. Yeah. Hold on. I'm just trying to think of what to say.
Well, I can talk about like the history, which I have familiarized
Oh yeah.
myself with.
So
In the
basic.
well, looking
So
up
yeah.
the kind of okay, so this is gonna get a little bit political.
Oh,
Like
go
I
for it.
haven't been
Hold
a
on.
little bit political on these streams before.
Mhm.
So in
yeah, basically,
1973, Israel was fighting a war. They were fighting
yeah,
another war, another
they were
big war
fighting
called
the
the Yom
Yom
Kippur
Kippur
War.
War with Egypt, and a lot of the Arab countries there, they were, I believe
Yeah,
OPEC was around the time, right? And because the United States was sending weapons to Israel and shit, they basically said okay, we're not going to send you oil and shit. That created a big, I mean big, like disruption, like
the car
industry.
industry, because
All
yeah,
the
most of our oil
stopped
came
going.
from those Arab countries
Yep,
that we were currently supplying Israel to fight against. And then they
yep,
decided, yeah, OPEC decided, you know what, you're like the West just
yep.
isn't getting oil anymore, which
So,
threw everyone into a panic because where the hell are we gonna get our oil? Most of
oh
I
yeah.
think we were still Gray, you're a bit quiet. Oh, Dantiok says you're a bit quiet.
Oh, am I? My bad.
I think could
Yeah.
you move closer to the mic?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Oh yeah, yeah, I can hear you a lot better now.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
No, like I got angle it so it's like I can't see my phone screen. Yeah.
oh
I tried to get my yeah, no, I just can't find my regular mic and everything. But yeah, no. So basically, yeah, when all that happened, right? Yeah, we were still drilling like a lot of oil over here in the States, right? But the
yeah.
problem was we just weren't drilling enough, and a lot of it was going elsewhere.
Oh, so we were exporting the oil
Mhm.
that we were drilling while importing Arab oil.
And so while all that stuff was going on, you had the EPA and CAFE going on around
Oh yeah, the
with smog and everything, and
environmental
it was
protection that
yep, which I at the time is very understandable because a
we
lot
weren't
yeah we
very we
basically
were yeah, we weren't very environmentally friendly back
no
then.
no
We,
we were
we
not.
were not.
and and even a smaller thing, right, was like insurance premiums were going up on like muscle cars and stuff at the same time, like allow two-door
Crispy Chip says
coupes and
it's always the
everything.
juice. It's always the
Yeah,
juice.
so it was like, so yeah, that's why Ford, like these big ass like land yachts started coming around just because, well, they were cheaper.
Something else that he brought up specifically was the difference in the Charger, this classic
Mm-hmm.
American muscle car. This was originally performance oriented, big engine, big fuel consumption,
Yeah,
meant to
yeah,
go
hold up,
super fast, and then
hold.
all of a sudden it just became this. They had to
Mm,
switch it to be
yeah,
this
they
big,
they wanted to switch over to like the purple luxury,
the luxury
model.
land yacht sector because they couldn't sustain those speeds anymore,
Mm-hmm.
and they couldn't market it for speed
Mm-hmm.
anymore.
Oh yeah, and a lot of that was because of the insurance premiums, because like yeah, the muscle cars were cool and all, people would buy them, but it's
They
like
weren't very safe.
sales were dwindling because of all the extra factors going on too.
What
So
was
it
that
made
in the
this switch.
what was that in
What
the
was
last
that?
part?
Yeah, so like you had insurance premiums going up on two door like coupes and muscle cars. You had the oil embargoes, and then you had what was I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, the I forgot the last part. Oh yeah, the environmental and all that.
Yeah, the EPA. And you can
Mm-hmm.
see here, this isn't just restricted to Dodges or specific companies. You could see it like these were industry-wide changes. Let me pull up
Yeah.
the one of my
The,
favorite cars that I have talked about a lot on this channel before is the Mercury Cougar.
mm-hmm.
19 in
Yeah, because you like older
1969.
women.
These were originally a derivative of the Mustang, of all things, of the Mustang.
Mm. Yep.
These were supposed to be high performance muscle cars, kind of in the pony car segment until they got a little bit bigger and more powerful. And they
Mm.
leaned into that during the early 70s. All of a sudden, by the third, like you could see elements of this design, but it was still a muscle car. You could still tell
Oh yeah.
these were performance
Yeah.
oriented, even if they
Mm.
even and I kind of like the second generation grill a little bit better. By the third generation, like you can the grill is the same, but every other part of the
Mm.
car is suddenly changed to be this extended wheelbase. They changed the entire layout because they
Yeah,
couldn't
it was.
market it on speed anymore.
Yeah, and engine sizes, right? They did. The engine sizes stayed about the same, right? But they got detubed out the ass.
Yeah. I just increased my volume. I can hear you pretty good now.
All right. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah. They,
you brought up the difference between you highlighted this
the
to me,
Ford. Yeah, I
Ford
mainly.
big block.
Yeah, I was highlighting mainly the 460 motor, right? Because that has like the best like information there at the near the middle.
You highlighted the 460.
Yep. And you can see right. What was it?
Largest largest displacement 385, and then 365 gross HP.
Yep.
And then
what was it? Right about. In addition, a reduction. Oh, hold on, let me pull up on my end, please. Yep. All right. Okay, so in '72, the save net horsepower was accounted for real-world power losses created by engine accessories and exhaust systems were adopted as a standard in North America, resulting in significantly decreased horsepower ratings in all engines. So it went to and then you had more federally mandated exhaust because the EPA and CAFE and shit. So it went down to 212, and then they kept messing with it to then 197 horsepower and 77.
Holy shit! It was like I think I still like a lot of our cars are still produce less than this, but with much smaller engines. You can. Like, for example, the hood on my SUV, it's like my SUV is a big car. The hood is pretty short because it doesn't have a large engine. These were massive, and they were putting around the same kinds of the same or even lower at some points. It's ridiculous. Something because I love Top Gear. They mentioned in the Grand Tour as you can see here. They pulled this up. What was it? Was it the Eldorado? It was the DeVille. With the Chevy DeVille, where is that? The Eldorado. Let me pull up the the Cadillac DeVille. These because this is like the definitive land yacht. The Cadillac DeVille series is basically the definitive. This is the definitive land yacht. This is what people think of when they see big American car. Oh, Mr. Krabs says it's a good example of Americanism. Is just how far General Motors has been able to push modern pushrod V6 and V8s. Yeah, these aren't those kinds of engines just aren't common in other countries, from what I remember. But going into these 5th generation disc 1971 to 76 the Cadillac V8, the engine standard engine remained the 472. I think it was here that they bring up where is that 4385. This is a similar story. Drop the 500's gross output from 400 brake horsepower to 365 brake horsepower.
Oh yeah, you can see the rated horsepower, right?
Yeah.
Like 375 horsepower, 400, and then
fell to 215.
Yeah.
I think they mentioned. This is the episode of Grand Tour that got me interested in land yachts. Lockdown.
Yep.
And one of the most interesting things to come out of this is May's Cadillac DeVille, and he said this was the largest engine, the largest V8 ever produced, in any car ever made, and it was tied with Clarkson's Lincoln for the lowest output of any of the cars there. The largest, and this gigantic engine powering this gigantic car, it was not powerful enough to haul it anywhere. It's insane because it's how could. I think because back then, with the 73 oil crisis and everything going on with the geopolitics in the background, and the Malaise era, I think this is when people started considering this is this is when people started calling it the death of the U.S. car industry. Of course, American cars are still going strong, but
Mm-hmm.
this was considered the death throw of Motor City, of like the death of Detroit, kind of. This is the first the first blow, because they just couldn't work with what they had anymore. All the more significant power reduction effects were caused by the adoption or increased use of emissions control procedures such as air injectors, exhaust gas recirculation, retardant ignition, thermal reactors. Yeah, these were presumptive bumper regulations, and because they had to change everything about
Oh yeah,
what they were
look at
doing.
the Mustang 2 right there.
Yeah, honestly, I just feel bad, really bad for the Mustang too, because I think it's a really pretty car that just gets a
Mm-hmm.
bad rap because of how, like, it was the symbol of the Malaise era, of like this sort of
Mm-hmm.
hyper popular muscle car, this pony car really, that got transformed into this middling mild coupe that didn't do anything very special. And
Yep, and
I just
that's kind of where like the Mustang got the hatchback and the notchback versions of itself
yeah,
that would go into the 80s.
it's from the start of the 70s until the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
American cars essentially, like, performance wise, they were permanently in the gutter until the technology improved that allowed them to maintain efficiency while getting higher speeds and higher horsepower.
Yep.
And this was corporate. Do you want to I guess kind of
We're at
explain this, the corporate average fuel economy?
oh, it is probably like is a if you guys have wondered why your buddy's like your truck is like about about the same size as like a Super Duty from 20 years ago, you can blame Cafe with its goofy shit. Basically, it puts a bunch of cars into different classes and everything, right? And it's basically, if it's not going to make this much, it got to make within a certain amount of fuel efficiency, right? And it puts manufacturers into a goofy box where, yeah, we can make a car that would be nice for customers, right? But it won't be fuel efficient, and that's where the government basically comes in with fines and everything. Basically, you gotta make this engine fuel efficient, or you gotta make this car fuel efficient and everything.
They literally had to upscale the trucks and the cars and everything to format, because the smaller, more practical versions weren't efficient enough.
And
this is the chicken tax, right? This is the chicken tax.
Not necessarily.
Oh, the chicken tax is a different thing.
Yeah, it's a different thing. I think it came out of a European American trade war, like in the 60s.
Oh, because I remember the chicken tax is the reason why they say Toyota can't pull in the Hilux or any small like Japanese pickup anymore. They had to upscale them for the.
I think that comes out of not necessarily a tax, right, but like a law they made in like in the 80s, because people started buying imported cheap Japanese vehicles and everything, right? Because they were cheap and compact and fuel efficient. Is basically the law basically became you had to wait 25 years to import a car.
Oh, that's like
that's why a lot of them had to build over here to U.S. standards.
Yeah, so that's why these all these foreign manufacturers. That's why is it only Japan that has is that the only?
I believe all manufacturers are subjected to that law, but it was mainly targeted at the Japanese.
Yeah, because from what I remember, it's only the Japanese that has factories here in the U.S., right? It's not like Europeans don't do that.
I'm pretty sure it's BMW factories over here, right? But compared to Japanese manufacturers, hell no. They got shitloads of plants here now.
Yeah, because European and American standards are inherently different. Yeah, but going back to the land yachts, a lot of these just tried to switch over to the like a lot of the performance cars of the era did switch to the land yacht like style,
Mhm.
and
Yep.
and I think yeah, for American cars, these were these remain the longest and heaviest production cars, and these like and I think maybe it's just because of tradition or just comfort, like the wheel like these platforms just stayed around for a really long time. You
Oh
wouldn't
yeah.
think of of your Ford Crown, like people don't commonly think of the Ford Crown Vic as a land yacht or as like this sort of classic car. Well, it
No,
is
and
now, but
yep.
they weren't at the time. But this was normal. This was just normal back then.
Hmm.
And yeah, the Ford Panther. These are what these are what many argue are the last land yachts during the 80s.
Hmm.
During the 80s, the extended wheelbase platform still stood. After the Malaise era, of course, they had to update the aesthetics and the performance and everything,
Hmm.
but
Yep.
everything was still big. These were still big ass
Oh
cars.
yeah. Yep.
And if you look at the General Motors G platform, you see the Ford Panther. I think this was the longest running of the land yachts, I think. And the third generation, like as you can see, this
Oh yeah.
this
Yep.
original Ford Crown Victoria and this and the modern like Lincoln Town Car or pop car style of
Oh,
Crown Victoria,
modern, but yeah.
these are the same chassis.
Yep.
These are
Same
just
body
this
on frame platform. Yep.
same body. It's like, well, it's a different body. It's the same
Yeah.
chassis.
Well,
So
yeah.
it's just insane to me to think that these have been going on that long. But all of a
Hmm.
sudden, I think it was during yeah, all in the 2010s, all of them just died. 1982,
Yep.
1988. Successor was the General Motors H platform. Okay, yeah, this one lasted until the 90s. And there was the G platform. This is smaller, but
Yeah. The only.
yeah, the Buick,
Yeah.
like they don't. America doesn't make these kinds of cars anymore. They just don't.
No, like
If you,
the only time you see like a true like vehicle with a frame right nowadays, it's a pickup truck.
yeah, it's a pickup truck. The body on frame, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Cause
But
yeah. Cause
yeah,
most
body
like.
on frame. The where it's a separate body and chassis.
Hmm. Yeah. Look
In
at. I
con-
think. Look at. Uh. Go. I think I saw a good picture of it. Scroll down a little. Up.
oh, up this
Yeah.
one.
Little smart car. I
Yeah,
mean, most of the time now, it's like you don't. That whole thing is just one giant piece.
because these were easier to manufacture back then, right?
Hmm. Oh
Would you
yeah, the
cons-
ladder frame and all that. Yeah, they were
would you consider one piece frames to be stronger or
I
more
have no
safe?
idea. I imagine they're probably more safe, but still like
But yeah,
for like yeah.
you mentioned the only ones that are body on frame anymore are pickups. Well, here's your Toyota
Yep.
Tundra. Yeah, you have
Yep.
this. You don't really have anything else. But yeah,
Hmm.
looking at the GMH platform, and this was around for a while. Even if you watch '90s movies, the cars were still pretty big, even if they did look
Hmm.
pretty modern at the time. At least they still look pretty big. You look
Oh
at the
yeah.
Ford Panther, and this is and like how they brought these into how they became an icon of fucking New York and the
Hmm.
cramped streets there. I don't know how, but I
Yeah.
love it because it's such a pretty car. Like everyone describes the Malaise era like or the 1960s as the last gasp of the American car industry, or maybe the 80s. For me, it was the early 2000s because you had these, like, for the first time in a while, modern, like, this smooth lines design actually worked. It was the
Hmm.
only time that it worked. You can see, I'm like, this isn't directly related to the land yachts thing. Look at the difference between the fourth gen Charger and the fifth gen Charger.
Hmm.
It's
Oh yeah.
unrecognizable. You can kind of see where like even if the style entirely
Hmm.
changed, you can see where this evolved into this. You cannot tell me where this evolved into this. it's jarring. Like,
Yeah.
I don't hate this, but it's just compared to this, it's just
Mhm.
it's alien. How did they like, how
Yeah.
did we allow this to happen?
Yeah, that's why I like the evolution of like the first like route like era of Camaro until like '02, right? Is because you can see the natural progression and shit.
Yeah,
With this, it's like you
it's just
gave
a
up and then
it's
you
a
built something new.
it's a leap. It's like a lot of cars. I think the Fox body Mustang looked like this. A lot of muscle cars or like
Mhm.
attempted pony cars of the era looked like this. And don't get me wrong, I like those cars, but I don't know how they got there. I don't know
I
what
I
prompted.
think I think the only ones that like at least still look the part of like where they came from were like the General Motors Firebird and Camaro, like in those pony car like
Yeah,
class.
those. I love the Firebird of that era
Mhm.
of this the smaller section, but yeah, and then okay, they just took a 300 and slapped the Charger name on it.
Yeah,
They didn't
they took a
really do
300.
anything new. They just
They
labeled it new. But
they
yeah,
didn't
it
do
seems like
yeah.
all of these either adapted they either got this new streamlined design or they just died. They just
Mhm.
promptly died. You can kind of see where they came from, but it's just it feels alien.
Mhm.
And looking at a lot of the like these the modern a lot of these generations of cars just
Mhm.
aren't
Oh
around
yeah.
anymore.
Yeah, no, like a lot of
If
them are
you look
gone and it's like
if you look at the difference between the Ford Panther and the Ford Taurus and and at least the modern Ford Taurus, like they looked of the time, they looked of the
mhm.
era. They don't they don't they don't look. Yeah, this is the large. Well, they don't make these anymore. They just straight up
Yeah,
don't.
no.
They
Yeah, because I imagine the only reason why they stopped making it is literally just because they lost out in the police car bid for a lot of like departments when they're going up
yeah, I
against the
feel like
Charger.
with a lot of as much as I like Ford, a lot of the cars, it's one of those kinds of cars where at least in my area, whenever you see a Ford SUV, like a Ford SUV,
Mhm.
whenever you see a Ford SUV or a Ford sedan, you automatically think that's an undercover cop. No one would
Mhm.
willingly drive one of these. No one would willingly like it's too like it's too on the nose because I think a lot of police departments have a mandate to buy American, right?
Yeah, yeah, because
Yeah.
I don't think
No
I
one
don't think
no one
I
would
don't think I
willingly drive a Ford
yeah.
Taurus or a Ford Focus or something like I think well the Fiesta and the Focus you can kind of see the appeal because I
Mhm.
have a friend who owns a Focus or no I have a friend who I think it's a Fiesta. But no one would drive a Taurus because it's too large. That has to be a cop or like either that or it's a taxi company that needed to buy modern,
Mhm.
like to buy local. There's no
Yep.
way someone would be
Yeah,
driving
because
this. And
I
like
know
looking at the
I
difference between this and the Panther, it's the difference is staggering
mhm.
in the design language. We had two like we lived through two jumps, two separate design language jumps for cars in our lifetime, and it's astounding because
Yeah, no, like
even the boomers didn't like unless they were born in like the 30s or something. Like all the boomers, most of them were seeing the same kinds of cars. Like you could
mhm.
kind of they went through one jump and then when growing up for us
Yeah,
it
growing up,
was
they
multiple. Now
oh
like
yeah, because
they, even modern cars don't even look like this anymore. They don't.
yeah, no, they don't. Yeah,
I
because
love Fox bodies,
you look
yeah.
at that yeah, you look at that car, right? And it's like whatever, but then look at that car at the very bottom. You see how it has
Yeah, it's
the fucking like LED kind of like
the
wraparound
extended
almost.
like that those like
Yep.
extended grills that you see on Japanese
Mhm.
cars like and Korean
Yeah,
cars as well.
and I think even worse like the LED like little strips they have on like the front now.
Yeah, because like I'm not because Tesla I think Tesla made them popular. Was it
And
Tesla or was it something else? I think they wanted to
I
make
don't
it
know.
seem more like the EVs, but it was that the light strip on the front.
Yeah, like across like the top of the grill and on like the corners of the headlights. It looks stupid,
Yeah,
but
I remember.
it's what manufacturers want, so it's like whatever.
I remember. I'm in another Discord server discussing cars.
Mm.
Someone threatened to kill, like straight up kill the inventor of the LED headlight or something like that, or because it hurts them so much during nighttime driving. Like I get it. Like I should probably replace my incandescents
Yeah,
in my
I
current
think.
car. In my
Mm.
current car, I should probably replace my incandescents, but damn, the LEDs on my parents' cars because they have newer cars, it is like
Yeah,
an eyesore to look at sometimes.
yeah, I got LEDs on my truck, right? Because my incandescents and my old like housings were like completely like dull and gone, basically.
Oh, shit.
So I imagine some drivers are pissed off at me even when I don't have my brakes on.
Yeah, Mr. Krabs says Japanese cars probably aren't stout jumping curbs or accidentally hitting deer. Well, I mean, you can do that
Yeah,
with any car.
yeah, I know.
It kind of happens.
Mhm.
Chrysler Windsor, Chrysler Cordoba. Yeah, looking at these, I remember. Yeah, it says here today the last American land yacht died. Out of them all, which one would you take home? Because I know I don't want to go on Reddit that often.
They,
But
yeah,
this
they're
is
talking about
an interesting thing to point
I
out
think
because
I think the funny thing about them like saying like the 300s dying, right?
it's
Is
not even a land yacht.
yeah,
It's not.
no, it's not. It's really not. I mean, it's fat and wide, right? But hey,
It's
just look at the new Cadillac. They still got
it
what's
just looks like
essentially a land yacht.
it's basically the Chrysler edition of the Taurus of the Ford Taurus. Yeah, it's around that same size. But I think why
It's
they call it the last
it's
land yacht
a
is because
it's a cheaper it's a cheaper Cadillac in my opinion.
yeah, why they bring it up, why they consider this a land yacht. Well, even though
I
we
think it's
wouldn't,
because it's massive as shit, but then
it's
like
just big, but
just
it's
go
not a
look at the
land
new
yacht.
yeah, just go look at the new like Cadillac car and everything.
Cattle. Let me see if I can find it.
I think it's I'm trying to think of the name because like
Cattle. I think is it the CTS? They're still making
what's the
these, right?
mm, yeah, hold on one second, I gotta pull it up. Damn it. Cadillac, stop having a dog shit website. Yeah,
It's a CTS,
the
right?
CT5, the CT5.
Oh, the
Which
CT5.
even then it looks CT5, CT4 basically. I think the CT4 is most, but yeah,
Oh,
no, like
this one, right? On my look at my stream.
hold up.
Give me a strike. I think it's loading a bit.
Yeah, I think the CT4 is more like, but yeah, the thing is like I've seen the death of trunks in my lifetime.
Dancey says LEDs fuck me up. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not fun.
But yeah, no, it's like probably the only like this is probably the last hurrah of like the American like
The American
sedan
sedan,
style. Yeah.
the big sedan. It's
'Cause-
and they're not even big. They're not even. If you compare this to the older versions, they're not even that
No,
large. They're just trying to compete
no.
with because a lot of European cars like BMW and Mercedes, a lot of German ones and a lot of I think for a while even Jaguar before they went to shit, like absolute shit at least. Oh, they were trying to have their hand in competing with the American sedan
Mhm.
market. But this is kind of the last one. The
Yeah, no.
Dodge
Yeah,
isn't
because
making them anymore. Ford isn't making them anymore. It
yeah,
goes up to
no.
General Motors now.
Ford talked about bringing back a sedan style car, but like Ford got rid of that one CEO and now Jim Farley there, so 50-50. But I know they brought back the Bronco, so who knows?
Yeah, like it's not bad. Like it's not bad to nostalgia bait with cars, with modern cars like the Hummer and the well, I don't like the new EV Hummer, but with stuff like the
No.
Bronco, I can see why they brought it back.
Oh yeah,
And
and
yeah, and it's
I
not
like
bad. It's not horrible. But
my favorite thing about the new Bronco, right, is I'm glad they made 2 different versions of it.
what are the 2 different versions?
You got a very citizen, like little, like compact, like not that, but like the Bronco Sport.
Well, like the two-door, the two-door, two-door coupe.
That 2-door is like basically, you know, your
Like,
big like regular Bronco, and scroll down a little bit. I think they might have it. You might have to pull it up.
Yeah, the Bronco. They have the Raptor. They have the they have the trim levels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got basically a bunch of big Broncos. Doesn't that have the fucking Sport?
I think.
Yeah,
this is supposed to be the Sport.
No,
Is it?
it's not the Sport. No, the Sport's way there. I might have to pull it up. I'll pull up a picture for you.
Okay. Yeah, but overall, you have this, like, it's that sort of Land Rover Defender style, or International Harvester Scout kind of
they made a whole different Wikipedia page. Damn.
Oh, the Ford Bronco for the. Oh yeah, this looks different. I don't like.
Yeah, no.
I don't like this.
Yeah, no. This, like I said, I'm glad.
This looks like ass. Not gonna lie. I don't see these very often where I live.
I've seen them a fair bit. But I'm glad they made one for, like, you know, for regular Jeep people and one for the other kind of Jeep people, you know?
Yeah. I just wish... Wait, are you... Okay. One for Jeep people and one for not Jeep people?
One for Jeep people and one for people that drive Jeeps that consider themselves Jeep people.
Oh. I guess it's the Wrangler, but slightly less gay. Slightly less gay.
I do find it funny that I went to Ford dealership one time to not trade my truck, but like get worked on, right? And I was like, they put a built-in wide body kit on that thing. Damn.
Huh. Well, honestly, if we're gonna say Ford Motor Company, the first thing we would do is to halt production of the Mach-E and burn, like, we're not even gonna sell them.
I don't even think they produce them anymore.
The Mach-E?
Yeah, they could. I know the Ford's completely cut back on EV production and shit.
I don't want to hate all EVs. Like, I respect people if they want to get them, but it's just the Mach-E is just an insult to the Ford Motor Company and its heritage. I just want to burn it. I hate that car. Oh my gosh, I just fucking hate that car.
If they just took a regular Mustang, right?
Yeah.
Put in an electric power plant and call it a Mach-E, I don't think anybody would give a shit, because at least it would have been the same body style.
Yeah, they would have, like,
you know?
Or kind of like bring out one of your old prototypes that looked different than the Mustang but was on the same chassis or sort of the same frame, made it a little bit different, called it the Mach-E or something like that.
And we just fucking slap fucking Mustang logos onto an electric hatchback, basically.
Onto an electric hatchback. It doesn't even look good. It looks like an SUV, and it doesn't even have SUV capabilities.
No, it doesn't. It's just a little fucking crossover.
Oh man, and it's just.
Yeah, no, it's goofy and everything.
Ford, like, again, I don't want to get too political.
Ford makes 2 good steps and they make 2 good wrong steps.
Yeah, like, well, 1 step forward, 2 steps back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know, I was gonna go political with like the reasons why Ford made those stuff, but you know, I don't want to. I've already talked enough about politics on this stream.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, going on to, I guess, the golden age of land yachts and the sort of the greatest concept cars of the 1950s, the Buick LeSabre, and I should bring up the General Motors Motorama. This was big. This was the World's Fair for cars back then. Unfortunately, Ford did not have one of their own at the time, the General like a Motorama.
No,
but I remember as a little kid, well, like, because of course I was little, like the Pixar movie Cars. I think the black lady Flo, she's supposed to be an Oldsmobile from the Motorama exhibit. She like
Mm.
she's supposed to be a Motorama exhibit car. I think all of these were concepts, but they never went anywhere.
Mm.
A touch of magic.
That's the only difference where my goat Ford and my eternal rival Chevrolet differ.
Yeah,
Because we might put out a Bronco prototype, but we'll at least build it 20 years from later.
yeah.
Yeah,
At least they're gonna
showed off
damn
that
build it.
Bronco. Yeah, they showed off that Bronco, right? Like the concept back in like 04, 06, right? Took
Yeah.
them to like 21 to actually build them and sell them.
Yeah, I think yeah. They showed it off. The wild I think was it the wildflower? This one.
Yep.
This
Yeah,
big like boxy looking guy.
It looks goofy, but
It
like,
looks
still
the
has
FJ
character.
Cruiser from Toyota.
It does. But you can see the same characteristics as like the one that's actually in production now.
That big flat face, but yeah, it looks similar. You can see where it came from. But yeah,
Yep.
looking at the Motorama, this is like if you want to consult on aesthetics for Fallout, instead of following the sort of cartoonish aesthetics that Bethesda is following, look up the General Motors Motorama, look up Design for Dreaming, this short film where it's where is it? It was the company, the General Motors Motorama, the Kitchen of the Future, Buick, Chevy, Oldsmobile, and all of this. I think this was a concept car at the time, and you had and you had all of these. You had this. This looks like a car that they like that's actually in the original Interplay Fallouts. This version of the LeSabre.
Like
the Golden Rocket, and the Lincoln Futura, and the you get the Firebird here. Oh, like these aren't American, but this really they really lean into the atomic age and space age kind of thing, by including these. Like everyone knows about the massive fins that were characteristic of American cars at the time.
Yeah,
I remember there was something fascinating: the vestigial fins. The car tail fin. These were a fixture. Like these were the basic.
They were big.
They were big. These were. It wasn't a car without these. It wasn't a car without these. From the late 1940s and the post-war, up until all the way subtle reintroduction into car styling, fourth generation Prius. Oh man, look, this isn't related to land yachts. I'm gonna click on the Prius. Apparently, this is supposed to be a tail fin.
I can see it, but
Like,
it's like
I'm not gonna lie.
Y'all are stretching that a little.
Yeah, y'all are stretching. That being said, look at this. Like, for a while, like I didn't know how they did it. The Prius didn't look that bad of a car for a while. Like from the 2015 era.
It looks a little bug-eyed, but it's not too bad.
It's not too bad. And then look what they did for the new one. This is the new.
Yeah,
this
no,
is
that's
oh
all
man,
Toyota styling.
fucking hell! Oh my
Go
gosh!
look at the Camry. It has the same front end.
Oh, the can.
Yep, Camry has the same front end.
The 20. It has that giant pog face.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just like
You know
I
what?
like.
You know why they did that?
Why?
NASCAR.
What?
They did that for NASCAR.
They did it to make it look like the NASCAR version.
No, they did it for NASCAR.
So they could produce the Camry for NASCAR.
Well, yeah, they already had the Camry in NASCAR, right? But they did that that design change for like racing in NASCAR. Yeah, so just so they'd be able to have that legally on like the car itself instead of like cars were,
Yeah, it just looks.
So yeah.
It's like some of them are okay. I don't like this. I don't like that sort of that stubbled in grill. I don't like that. That's that looks like ass. It could these could be better, but a lot of them just it just does not look good, man. It does not look good. I don't know where that came from, but yeah, a palate cleanser, Facel Vega, the Facel Vega. Yeah, these were even these were I say they were popular on American cars these were popular. Yeah, these happened on even the fucking Indians did it. The Hindustan Ambassador.
Yeah, no, everybody kind of wanted to cash in
Yeah,
on
I
it.
remember one of my favorite cars, the James Bond car, the Aston Martin DB5. It said, yeah, the subtle fins are there. You could see those on the end. They're more rounded. They're more.
This is the kind of stuff I miss out on manufacturers when they like gave their own like just details in general right on their cars and everything.
Yeah, they want something more elaborate, something more classical, and yeah, you have those, and something that you notice, like the difference between the DB5 and the DB6. They chopped off. They killed the fucking fins. This is why, like, despite
that's another trend from that time in like the 60s, right? Was like that kind of like go back to like that picture, right?
which one?
That one right there where you can see the taillights. That was another trend from like back then where like instead of being tail fins, it was basically one giant like spoiler almost.
That's stubby back.
Lip. Like that, little. You see how I have that faint lip at this on the top?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I know the Firebirds in that had.
Oh yeah, the fire. I think did. Yeah, I think I remember seeing these because these kind of tried to replace the tail fin as something more aerodynamic. Even if it looks more aerodynamic, it just looks like ass. I'm not gonna lie. I don't like. You got rid of the fins, man. I liked it. I liked the fins. And something interesting was even the Soviets did this. Even the fucking Soviet Union leaned. Even the commies did this. They had the wagon version. Let me find was it the Volga or the Lada. It wasn't. No, these were too late. I'm looking at the Volga, Yeah, I'm trying to find the what was it? The Ukrainian car manufacturer. I think it's these. I'm trying to find this sort of specific. The Soviet limousines. Let me find Ed's car.
What was it? Would have been probably I think a Gaz model, Gaz and
So yeah, one of these kinds of. I'm trying to find that one of the Soviet.
Hold on.
That time that the Soviets attempted to copy the styling of American cars.
Oh, I literally just found it. The Chaika.
Oh, what is it?
Let me send you DMs real fast. Oh god, Discord, stop.
Oh.
I found it for you.
Oh yeah, the guy's Chaika. The Chaika. Yeah,
that's the most ripped off Bel Air I've ever seen.
That is. The fucking commies stole a Cadillac and said, "Comrade, this is our Cadillac. We have Cadillac at home," and they only gave it to the party officials.
It's not the first thing they've stolen. It's not the first thing.
They did this with planes too. They did the Tu-4 is a copy of the Super Fortress.
Oh wait, hold on.
Like they did this with planes and military weapons as well. But this is like the most ridiculous you could get with consumer products. A lot of them just look the same. A lot of them
I think even I would like
automatic transmission of a similar design to the Chrysler Torque Flight. It was produced from 1959 to 1981.
Yeah.
Let me find the guy's the Chaika. It's so clearly
even like the 14 looks like even a bona fide clone too.
Yeah, they look. Yeah, the American land yacht still existed. It just was only available to party officials in the Soviet Union.
For the party elite, yeah.
Yeah, the party elite.
I think it's another thing, right? That like another stylish style choice, right? It's gone now, is right. Like click
Yeah.
on the. You see how like it has that the very faint front fins almost.
Um.
Like on like the hood. You see how like you have on the very
Oh
ends,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
That have like the
Those
fins.
smooth lines, those
Mhm.
that sharp edge on the end.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
sharp edge
those
on the
those are
very
gone
end and
now.
everything. I
People,
think
yeah,
the only, yeah,
hard.
I think the Ford Mustang now has like that very like that kind of edge on the end.
Yeah, they either like made it more elaborate or they got rid of it entirely. They
Mhm.
tried to make it like a different kind of valley. They didn't have it in these sort of rigid shapes that were familiar back then. They don't have those
Oh my!
anymore.
I went to go
Oh.
check Wikipedia for a picture of it, right? And it was like the most dog ass picture I could find. Like I could not show you.
Oh, oh man.
Uh,
But yeah, looking at these, and I think looking at these at the land yachts of the era, these were as they were the DeSoto Fireflight.
mhm.
Yeah, a lot of these companies don't exist anymore. Um,
No, Plymouth,
Plymouth
Plymouth gone.
Plymouth is
Olds
gone.
is gone.
Edsel is gone.
Edsel's
Ed,
gone.
Edsel's gone.
Chrysler's about dead.
Hudson is definitely gone. Packard Packard is
Hudson.
gone.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Like, what was it? Nash and like Hudson merged to form AMC, and that got merged into a Chrysler.
Yeah, that's Stellantis now.
Yep.
AMC, American Motors Corporation.
DeSoto's gone.
Soto is long dead.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, looking at these were just beauties at the time.
Mm-hmm.
There were, and I think the other one. This is the Ford. This was the Ford like rival to Cadillac DeVille.
Yep.
The Lincoln Continental. I think this was the basis for basically, if you've seen Baby Driver in his fantasy, this is what he got. This is what he got for his girl. The Lincoln Continental Mark IV.
Mm-hmm.
The Mark V. And Clarkson has this in Lockdown. It's just this massive, this monolith of a front end. They copied this from Rolls-Royce. They copied the monolithic grille from Rolls-Royce. But the garage style headlights was, I think, from somewhere else. You had these plush, like the plush leather bench seats. You had the wood paneling on the trim. Man, where have we gone? I took because I was hanging out with some of my more normie friends in real life.
I think the last time I saw wood paneling, right, was quite literally like the faux like wood you'd see on like a very thin strip on a dashboard. That was it.
Yeah. Specifically, because I took my friends out for like a night out near a few cities away. And like I was carpooling them, and they took notice because mine's an older car. Mine's an older like Honda from. Yeah, it's a more upscale Honda from 2005, and it had Bakelite interiors. It had faux leather and like fake light interiors. And they commented like, "Yeah, this is nice. We don't see this on our own cars." And I was blown away because this was literally the cheapest shit they could find, and they put it on the car.
Yeah,
and are you telling me all of that is gone now for like carpet and vinyl? They got rid of it. Like, how are we sinking to a level where we're not even offering Bakelite levels of trim in our cars anymore?
I think the goofy part about like for trucks, right, is like it's like pickup trucks have gone like the complete opposite way, right? Where you'd have carpet, you'd have cloth seats and everything. Now it feels like every truck you go look at now, all has leather, all has a whole bunch of stupid shit, and it's like, what?
Because the modern truck is the modern land yacht. They just had to do that because they weren't gonna put it anywhere else, and it's so sad because it feels like even the interior design kind of died in everywhere except rich people cars.
Yeah, because
it was available back then. My parents were middle class. Middle class people. They could afford just that, and you're telling me we can't afford to put Bakelite plastic in our cars. Everything has to be vinyl. Like, we can't even afford faux leather. it has to be vinyl, it has to be cloth, it has to be all this shit that doesn't feel good on the seat. And it's
I'm
just
gonna, I'm gonna
come
try to
on,
find
man.
a.
You'd think
Mhm.
luxury options would become more commonplace as time went on
Yeah,
in car design, but it's not there. And despite it becoming cheaper to do, it's not available. I don't know
yeah.
why.
I'm gonna try to find like the inside pictures like I took of my like dad's truck, right? And it's like, it's so different. It's like holy. It's like I've seen cars nowadays, right? And it's like what it feels like it's a different fucking like breed almost.
Yeah. Mr. Crab says their engine stuff is funny because there's so many times they come up with a good new engine, then they just scrap it for a slightly up-powered engine designed a couple of decades previously. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know when he said that, but I think it was referring to the what was it
Yeah.
referring to, Mr. Krabs? Oh, I think it was referring to Ford. But yeah, you got the Cadillac Eldorado,
Mm-hmm.
and like this was a sign of the times. And let me go find the something else I wanted to point out with the Chevelle. The difference between this was like a muscle car
The
kind of thing,
Chevelle, and then
and then you go down enough, and then boom, you have a station wagon, and
oh yeah,
they super sported the station wagon.
yep.
They
I
super
I
sported
do
the fucking
I do
station wagon.
I do I do like that they tried to keep the grill like going wide. Like you see how the grill almost extends to like their
They
yeah,
super
it's so
sported the
goofy.
station wagon. Look, I get it
Yeah,
if it's a
the shit
utility.
that yeah the
I get
shit
if
that
it
General Motors did back in the day.
yeah, this is just what they did. And then yeah, and then they kind of died off. And then looking at
Oh yeah, wagons. I think I think wagons died a harder death than like a land yacht in general.
yeah, because it had a place for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike the land
And
yacht,
yeah,
the wagon served a practical purpose
yep.
until the
And then
SUV just stole it.
yeah, what was it? Dodge started making like like not SUVs but minivans in the 80s, right?
Yeah, minivans.
You had the crappy but like all right like Jeep SUV that started to come out in the 80s, and then what was it? I think the Ford
Was it the
Expedition or like
Cherokee?
no, it was like the big one with like literally looked like a big ass like J10 truck, right? With both but made into an SUV almost
Huh.
with the big wood furniture on the side and everything.
Part of the so Mr. Krabs says part of the issue with pickups is they lock up so many highly wanted things behind specific trims and packages, and that the engine
Oh yeah,
stuff of the
that's
Soviets.
the most important part, right? Is like if you want a long bed truck nowadays, right? And a quarter ton, right? This is without getting like any additional towing package, right? You have to get it only as a regular cab. You can't get it as an extended cab anymore. It has to be a regular cab, and it's gotta be basically base nothing else. So you're gonna get because nowadays they're all like V6s and everything.
Yeah. Okay. So you sent me the photos of your dad's this is your dad's
Yep.
truck, right?
Yep. The first one is, and the second one is my personal.
Okay. The first one. Yeah. That's that they had time for to do leather upholstery. That's a well. What kind of truck is that? Your dad's?
My dad's is a 22 F350. He
A
traded in his 2015 Super Duty.
And then which
Or
one is yours? Because that's the
the second picture.
yeah, that's the cloth seat, the like the carpet seats and the is that like basic plastic upholstery?
I'm pretty sure it's like the plastic polymer
Yeah, the
like up
like
there and everything.
like vinyl.
Yep. Yeah.
You see a lot of vinyl roofs. Also, vinyl roofs aren't a thing anymore. You see a lot
No.
of vinyl roofs on on a lot of the later generation on a lot
Yeah.
of the later generation land yachts. And I think yeah, land yacht archives and the biggest and most flamboyant American cars. Something I wanted to put 21 longest because these were known for their length. the Dodge Custom A80, the Dodge. A lot of these are Dodges, and these were coupes too. They weren't sedans.
Yep.
You had to squeeze in the back. Oh, the Ford LTD. I'm gonna show off something else like a clip from a movie that I found that I really wanted to show off.
71
Riviera. Oh, the Riviera, the boat tail. Like the boat tail was featured in Grand Tour as Hammond's car. That was a thing for a while. That was that was a thing for a while. The Buick Riviera boat tail. Yeah, this sort of this one.
But,
I think it's
only I've seen that before. Yeah, no.
Only Rolls-Royce offers this sort of trim on the back anymore.
That boat tail,
no one does this.
Yeah, no, that's very unique. It's just different.
That split rear bumper, the most controversial car of all time. And looking at that, and something I wanted to look up. Let's go to the Eldorado.
I think another thing is like chrome bumpers in cars are gone nowadays.
Yeah, it's gone. They like,
yeah, no.
Something I noticed past the 70s. You can see from here, the leap from here to here, it's gone. This is just it. Like
that one, I get
cars don't have bumpers anymore.
Yeah, cause like look up like the look up the Crown Vic real quick, right? Cause I'm pretty sure that one.
Yeah, the Crown.
It's not chrome, right? But it's like what's it called?
It's metal. It's like made of metal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, the difference between this and this. Like both of them have visible bumpers, but it's not like there isn't a visible lining anymore. This is just described like this is molded to be part of the car.
Yep. Yeah,
I wonder, like, I guess because they thought it was limiting their design options, but yeah, a lot of the you don't even get linings, like metal linings in the car body anymore.
I think again a lot of this is just it's all shifted into trucks and stuff now.
Yeah, because I see trucks with bumpers. Because I think maybe it's an element of the body on frame kind of thing.
Yeah, that's I think the one thing that hasn't changed in like for trucks is like they still got metal bumpers, like chrome bumpers at least.
And then something you can't not mention the American Land Yacht without mentioning the Cadillac Fleetwood.
Oh yeah, the Fleetwood.
This is the longest at the time of its production, the D-body, the Fleetwood, the longest length production car marketed in the U.S. This was like I think these were the longest cars that weren't limos. This is the CT. They put it on the CT6 now. Fleetwood Brougham. This one, the Fleetwood Brougham. The Cadillac Brougham. The Elegance. These were the I'm trying to find it. If this was the longest one, that's a shitty photo.
I do respect Cadillac for not changing like the design from like the 70s to like the mid 2000s.
Because I think it's because they really wanted to honor that heritage that they had. They
even look up like the 2000 like the later Eldorados and everything. They still had that same style like
it looks familiar. Even without the big bumper, it still looks familiar. It still looks pretty good.
Yeah.
I would be happy to have one of these. And then I was trying to find it if the the Brougham, the Fleetwood Brougham, like all of these very long vehicles. All these very long vehicles.
I think the one corporation that never really ever recovered from like the malaise, right?
Yeah.
Probably Chrysler.
Yeah, Chrysler, like all of Chrysler's cars are like permanently in the malaise. These are like of all the I think they were bought out by Renault, right? Before Stellantis. But even
so what was I? what was I forget because Chrysler already had like Maserati and then bought out like what was it, AMC, which why they have Jeep nowadays, and then they
Yeah,
merged with Fiat. I don't remember who bought them or who merged into them and formed Stellantis.
but yeah, like no one willingly drives unless you're getting it for like the muscle cars or the Jeeps. No
Yeah,
one willingly drives a Chrysler or a Stellantis or like Mopar
the only
product.
time I've seen people like with a Dodge, right, is like they're Dodge truck fans, or like they
Like
like the muscle
trucks,
car.
Chargers and Challengers, or
Yeah,
Jeeps. No, like the very specific niche products that people want.
but
Anything
but
else,
if, yeah, if you're
Chrysler
buying like a
cannot make
ProMaster, right?
correctly.
If you're buying a ProMaster, most likely cheaping out on like a van, or if you have a Dodge minivan, then you got like a 300 credit score.
Yeah. Or you just trade it in for like a Japanese SUV or van or something like that. But yeah, here we go. The Cadillac Fleetwood. This version makes a car lanyard, big engine, smooth rides, plush cabins, and this sort of inseparable ideal of Americana, where this car was available to the common man. That really defined the land yacht. And in a way, like we mentioned, it's not like this style of car is dead, but the
Mhm.
concept of the car is still alive with things like the giant luxury trucks that have essentially replaced the land yacht in the in form at least. It is a uniquely American thing, and
Oh yeah.
for better or for worse, I'm glad to have it around because it's something to be
Mhm.
patriotic about. AMC ambassador. Yeah, you didn't get this in other countries as much as you did in the States.
Yeah, no, yeah, if you're buying the, well, I think the AMC Ambassador was American because like AMC was American Motor Company.
Yeah.
It was
Eh,
of the land yachts a very budget model.
Yeah, I'm gonna pause the BGM for something that
All right.
I want to show off because there's this scene from Terminator 1. Hopefully I don't get
Mhm.
but because I think this is really, of course there are other better car chases, but for if you're looking for like late 70s, this scene
Oh.
right here where Kyle Reese and Sarah Connor are getting chased by the Terminator. Reese is in a Ford Custom. Where is it? Well, not the Cortina. Yeah, the Ford Custom of
Mhm.
the Custom 500 from the era. This big ass beast of a car, and he's sliding it
Mhm.
around like
This is
yeah,
1L19. I got a hit and run felony. Suspect vehicle, late model gray Ford, headed westbound on 7.
late model gray Ford. This was
That's what I told her. I'm
1984.
gonna need an
So
ambulance
Mhm.
at
so I think this was, yeah,
10-4.
that
Right
back then they
now.
still had that.
Hey, hold it! Oh! Oh! Ah!
I think the cop car the Terminator has, that's a Dodge, right? I think.
I got a zero. Yeah, it's Dodge.
Yeah, yeah. This is a
Monaco
yeah. This is
or
I have that I have I
yeah.
have the page. Yeah, the Dodge Monaco. This oh man, it used to look so pretty back then, but then they made it for the I guess the okay, that just looks like shit. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
That's like
That just looks like
that's what.
shit. I don't know what to tell you, man. Like you go from something like
Oh,
this,
oh,
you go
oh,
from
you know
something
how
like
you
this, and then to something like this. I don't know how you do it, man.
hold up. You know
Yeah,
how you like the Ford, you know how you like the Mercury Cougar?
yeah.
Go look at the 99 to '02 model.
The 99
Yeah.
to, oh no.
Wait, oh yeah,
Oh,
I forgot
that's not the
I forgot they kept
cougar.
making him in.
That's not the cougar. I don't know
Yeah,
who is this.
they were trying to be up like stuff like the Hyundai Tiburon and stuff
Or
like that
the
whole like Ford Combat trend in
like the
like the
like the
late nine.
Toyota Celica.
Yeah, the Celica,
Yeah,
the
it doesn't.
Tiburon and everything.
That's nothing. That has nothing to do with with the immediate preceding
Uh,
generation.
yeah, no,
You look at like
yeah.
yeah, they started getting pretty ugly, but then you
Fun
just
fact
jump to
about
this.
hold on, go
Yeah,
back to that like that Cougar real quick, right? That mill one. That almost went in NASCAR.
Oh no! Oh
Yeah,
no!
yeah.
No!
They
No!
were actually testing them out.
That
Yeah.
looks like shit. Like,
You know what was it? The Lincoln Mark VII or whatever, you know?
the
That
Lincoln
also almost went in
The Mark
NASCAR.
7.
Yeah, I think so. It was a Mark 7 or whatever. I just know it has like I think
Yeah, there's that.
Lincoln Mark V. Yeah, yep, right here.
Lincoln. Well, this is
Either
the
one of
Mark
those.
8. Okay, this isn't that
Not
bad.
this one, not this one. I think it was like the next one.
Um, maybe it's the previous one. No,
Nope,
that's what we're looking
next
at.
one. Next one.
Oh, what the fuck?
Yeah,
No,
that went almost went in
then
NASCAR.
wait, this is just a rebadged Ford Taurus.
Yeah,
This,
what's funny, right? You know what's funny?
yeah.
The you know what they get in the NASCAR? The bug eye Ford Taurus.
Oh no. Oh no.
And then fun fact, that Ford Taurus went on to win like the first
Oh
10 of the first
wow.
12 races.
Was it just because all the other cars were just shit, or they?
No, because they lied out the ass when they were showing off the like
Uh,
the first like Taurus,
wait, wait.
the
The
bug eye one.
original
Third
NASCAR.
gen,
This one?
not that one specifically, but like the 98 like year.
Oh, is it this one?
Yep, yep.
Oh, what the I cannot see this winning a NASCAR
No, I did.
race. Oh man, what is this? What is this? We're looking.
Look,
How did
yeah,
we get here?
I wanted to show you some pictures too, because
Yeah,
they won a shitload of 90. Oh yeah, let me show you like the fucking car
like I
they used to
respect it
both.
for existing, but it still
Yeah,
it looks like
they both.
shit.
I'm gonna send you a video that you can watch later, right? But like Ford completely messed with NASCAR, right, and cheated the shit out of like the Ford Taurus right before like the '98 season.
Did they misrepresent the specs or something?
Yeah, like look at that Ford Taurus right on like the very like bottom of your DMs, right? That picture.
Oh yeah, this one,
Yep.
the stock car.
Yep.
What about
Yeah,
it?
they completely. Oh yeah, like even like with the like you see how like that Ford Taurus right in that like the videos picture right how it has that weird ass rear end and shit.
Yeah.
They use that to completely lie to NASCAR right to make a even winnier car right before they even sold the Ford Taurus.
I remember Ford has a history of doing this, right?
Yep.
I think in the rally, like when they were making rally supercars, they made a completely original rally car, like for use as a rally race car, and then because rally cars have to be production models, they completely
Oh,
fucking lied and like pretended it was a production model, and it wasn't. It had no basis in reality. They just cheated.
yep.
I'm
Yeah,
trying to
no,
remember
it's
that one. And it was a good
yeah,
car,
Ford,
but it was still like the product of straight up cheating and bribing the
yeah.
officials to look the other way. But yeah, going back
I
to
think
the
it's funny, right? Because that won the first 10, like first 10 of the 10 of the first 12 races. Because I can't say the first 10 because Dale Earnhardt won like the Daytona 500.
but yeah, looking at the difference between the like oh we're marveling at oh it's such a pretty police car that they had in the movie, and then you have this
Yeah,
literally
no,
the definition
that car
of a
got so
slot
off
like
topic. It's
this is
ridiculous.
the slop car. This is just like
That's a Half Life One car.
it looks like the lot is from no, it looks like the lot is from Half-Life 2.
Hmm.
It looks like the lot is from
Hold
Half-Life
up,
2.
hold up. That
Hmm.
that Dodge Monaco actually unironically looks like some like like post-Soviet like luxury cars.
Like
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 when the Soviet Union collapsed and everything, right? And they wanted to
what
keep making luxury cars.
what company?
Hold on. Let me pull it up real fast.
Because I cannot imagine any this looking like a luxury car. This is just it just looks like shit, man. This is like This is this is like we were looking at like the best and most beautiful of the American car industry. This is undoubtedly the worst looking. Like we were saying, oh, so like a lot of the 80s and
It
90s
looks
cars
way
didn't look.
different than what I thought, but holy shit.
The gas 3105.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I guess it kind of, well, why, why does the
It looked
Russian car
it
look
looked
better than the
different in my
fucking
head. That's my
Dodge?
thing. I was like, damn, this thing looks even worse. But then I looked at it like, damn, it actually looks better.
This it looks better because it has an actual metal grill instead of the what is what is this? Of the Dodge Monaco,
Oh,
of where's that? Of
the
the Dodge
Chevrolet
Monaco.
Carlo. That's even that one's even holy shit.
The
Cause
new one?
the
Oh, it
yeah
fell off. It fell
yeah cause
off.
look at what they had in the 90s.
The night. Oh,
It
it's
got.
just
I will say the 2000s made us at least forget that version.
yeah, at least in the 2000s, they at least tried with the designs. They at least tried.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere along the line, like between the early 80s and the late 80s, car design just died. It just shot itself because how did we get from there to
Mm-hmm.
there? It's just it's
Yeah, the you also had that Chevy Lumina and the yeah.
Yeah, going back to this segment because you could see how big the cars were of the era, and again, this is in L.A. where the streets are narrow, they are wide, they are very heavily populated.
Oh yeah, they're wide.
Yeah, this
You
big
ever?
ass like Kyle Reese is driving this big ass Ford, and like
Oh
uh, undoubtedly a land yacht. Like, look at this
oh
size of that like. The
yeah,
size of this thing as it just
it's
barrels down this
huge.
tiny little alley.
You ever watch movie that will give you like unironic car autism?
Um,
Like the 1974 version of Gone 60 Seconds.
I haven't seen that one. I've seen the Nick Cage version.
Okay.
I
Because
have like usually when I get car autism, it's looking at James Bond movies because like of course like because the cars are kind of a spectacle there.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
I noticed in Never Say Never Again, which is like this. It was a knockoff James Bond movie, but it had Sean Connery as Bond in it, and I just noticed that they had one of the bad guy cars was a Camaro. Was a 70s Camaro. It was an 80s movie. It was a 70s Camaro that was
Mhm.
chasing
Yeah.
Bond. Yeah, but going back to this, don't tell me we're
Did
getting an
gaming
ad
take over
now.
your life?
Oh,
You're not
Oh
shut up,
my.
alone,
man.
and it might not be
Leave me
your fault.
alone.
The makers
Leave
of
me
game
alone.
The
But yeah,
the makers of it.
looking at the comparison between Reese's stolen car and this tiny
Yeah,
little
that
compact,
stupid shit box, and then
yeah,
the
this
big ass
stupid
land
little
box.
hatchback. I think this looks
Yeah.
like is that a Chevy? I could barely make out the symbol on it. Like this was made in 1984. This is the of this
That's
drastic
got
difference
that
between
got to
this is
be.
a 70s
I don't
car.
know.
This is an 80s car. There is such a drastic difference, man.
Are you injured? Are you shot? Do exactly what I say.
He's literally us. We
Don't
have to.
move unless I say. Don't make a
This
sound
is
unless
literally
I
us
say.
who deal with face
You
connect women.
understand? Do you understand? Please, don't hurt me.
And he's drifting. Yeah, this is one of the most beautiful shots in the movie, in my
Oh,
opinion.
Please, don't hurt me.
I one time made a race course in GTA
Yeah,
5, right?
yeah.
And instead of using like a sports car, I literally used a land yacht.
Oh man, that would be so cool. Look at him like the stunt driving in this section where he
Mhm.
just drifts effortlessly drifts this gigantic car across. This is to me one of the most beautiful, like one of the prettiest shots in Terminator 1, even like without all the gunfights and the Terminator stuff itself in it. This shot of
Oh
the
yeah.
car doing that slide is it is so pretty. and you can see and you could see it with that glossy trim and all the lights of those LA lights
Mhm.
glistening off of it. It's so
Mhm.
like it was remarkable. It was
Mhm.
this is the stuff that
Yeah,
we as Zoomers missed out on.
it's before the era of plastic bumpers and everything.
Yeah, the massive bumpers.
I will say, as a
I'm here
Zoomer,
to
I'm
help you.
glad I missed out on Saturn.
Oh man. One of my family friends, like a childhood friend growing up, and her dad had a Saturn and we carpooled in it. Like I couldn't remember it enough to be mad at it, but looking it back at like the late model offerings by like Pontiac and Saturn, it looks terrible. It just
Yeah.
looking at I didn't notice it much because I didn't care about it because it's a car, just get in. But looking at it now, like having ridden in a Saturn as a kid, it
Mhm.
looks terrible, man.
I'm Reese, Sergeant TechCom, BN 38416, assigned to protect you. You've been targeted for termination.
And I think I remember because I think yeah, the on the Monaco the Terminator was driving. I think this one, I'm not sure. It has a column shifter. Now column shift I've
Oh my god, yeah, no.
my dad's current car has a column shifter, which surprised
Yeah.
me because I thought everything was either
That's yeah, that's my thing, right? Is like that the column shifter is the one thing I just don't understand that why we had to kill it off.
for me it looked a little bit unwieldy because for the most part my my sticks on the side of the column
Mhm.
are purely for wipers and lights. Honestly, like throwing in another having a side
Mhm.
stick, like a regular having a regular a stick on the side of the gear on the gear shift is, I guess, the most common for me on my car. That's how it is. That's sort of like that center line fives. Like it's an automatic, but it looks like those 5-speed ones on the
Yeah,
side.
mine's an
That's one of the
automatic and everything, and it's like I got a column shifter, but
it,
yeah, I
it like
I think the biggest I forgot for a second. Shit.
I haven't had I haven't driven with a column shifter on an older car. So I feel like my newer yeah, it's a new
Yeah,
car. It might have a column
I've
shifter,
driven
but it's a new car, so I might have
yeah
like a different.
I've I've driven with not a manual stick shift, right, but like the little basically lever and shit on the thing what the fuck is it called? Where the center console's at and everything,
Yeah,
and
the center that's
with
what
the
it's called, the center console shifter. The
yeah,
console
center
shifter.
shifter and yeah,
That's
and
the
with a
standard
column
on my
shifter,
car.
and it's like I've driven both, and it's like you're just all you're doing with a column shifter is you're just pulling back and pulling it down up,
So
and yeah, and
yeah,
then letting
it
it
feels a
yeah
little bit harder. I know what
yeah
I'm doing with a column with a console shifter on a column. It's a little bit harder figuring everything out.
mhm.
It's easier to reach, but it's less intuitive. And something I'm afraid of is hitting a another section of the controls that I didn't intend to hit. I think a few times I accidentally turned on the turn signal when I was driving my dad's car. So
Mhm.
I guess that's why they kind of fell out of favor in at least in American cars.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah,
there's this like healthy mix of you could see 70s cars.
This is 1L19, westbound and Olympic approaching Overland.
bro, he's such a sigma.
Yeah, he's so fucking cool. Kyle Reese is an underrated, literally me character. I got to do a film freak
Yeah,
out
you
on
don't see
on yeah,
cars, they don't make movies like them anymore.
yeah, they really don't. I
Yeah.
I feel conflicted because James Cameron, like his work, I don't like him as a guy. I don't like him as a person. It's kind of like the way I see Hayao
Oh yeah,
Miyazaki. kind of like the way I see Hayao Miyazaki, where it's like he makes amazing movies, but I don't get like I genuinely do not care for anything else that he does, and
Mm.
it feels like even the old directors like Spielberg and Scorsese and Coppola have kind of forgotten how to make their own movies. They've forgotten how to make movies good. And I should do
Oh
a
yeah,
film
'cause
freak
it's
out on
like,
Terminator 1 at some point because
mhm.
it's visual like besides it being like one of my favorite like movie franchises, like action movie franchises, it's such a visually stunning movie.
Oh,
It's
you know how
like
we're back on, you know how we're on the movies now, right? You
yeah.
remember that? You remember that argument about Heat a while
Yeah,
ago?
we like was Heat an
That
action movie or a vibes movie?
or not that, but it was like the one that argument on Twitter. Remember that?
You were with the guy,
Yeah, with the guy that said like, what
you
was it?
like
I think
that Heat wasn't that good.
he wasn't that good except for one scene, and it's like,
Yeah,
dude,
you no, it's it had
I
the
watched
entire
that.
yeah.
It has you glued to your seat, bro.
Yeah,
My God.
it's Heat is meant to be watched in full. Like if you just watch the gun, like as much as I love the gunfights, if you just watch the gunfights, you are
Yeah,
getting
because
less than a tenth of what the movie is supposed to be. You get the wrong impressions
hmm
about the characters. You have to digest the entire movie as it is.
hmm
And speaking of which, actually in Heat, speaking of cars in the Heat movie, the in
yeah, because I know
town.
there's a quite a few like
The Lincoln
cars that
Town
are my
car.
favorite.
This was their this was the intended getaway car.
Hmm
The big old Lincoln Town car. And in that, like after they escape from the gunfight, Shaharless and Macaulay get in a Ford Taurus, a Taurus wagon of all things. They
hmm
steal a Taurus wagon. So and you have that healthy mix. Like back, this was in the this was of course in the '90s already, but you could see
Oh
there's
yeah.
still a lot of like there's still a lot of big cars on the road at that time.
hmm
There were still so many
I
big
think
cars on the road at the time.
what was cool, right? As like a car kind of guy, right? You can see like the new cars of like the time when that movie came out, right?
Yeah,
And like the cars that you would see in like the previous decades and everything.
yeah, and
Like
it
like
feels
my
like
mind like
all the
what was it?
cars. It feels like all the cars we see nowadays, like as people, just regular people walking around,
Mhm.
are like either late '90s or early 2000s. Because all of
Oh
these
yeah.
ones, all these older models, are just gone now. Or for the
Yeah,
most part, unless someone
yeah.
preserved them, they're all sent to scrap yards because people don't care about their cars anymore.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
yeah, you could see
I
the
don't
or.
like I don't want to get too political, right? But like, thank you, certain president, for cash for clunkers.
Mm, yeah, it's just uh
Like, I know
yeah,
a lot of those cars were shot, right? But like, that was a lot of like parts that could still like make used cars still cheap.
cars for clunkers
Or
or
cash for
ca-
clunkers, yeah.
the cash for clunkers.
Like, I know a lot of those cars.
Car
I
allowance
know,
rebate system 2000, which declined during the 2000. Yeah, like these were all scrapped, right? Like a lot of these
yep,
like a lot of the older trade-ins were scrapped, right?
yeah, because you had to like a lot of them, right? A lot of dealerships did get lazy too, right? If they couldn't find like give them to a scrapyard, right? You know what they would do is just they'd basically make the engine basically sealed up and everything, so you couldn't really ever get at it.
That's so fucking stupid, man. Like
Because the
I have
government
a
was like, yeah, we'll take them, but you got to legally destroy the motor and everything.
for example, I don't know where they went, but I had this giant pile of like electronic equipment and computer parts that didn't fucking work, and I don't want to throw it away because I feel like someone can make better use of that stuff than I can. Like at some point, I'm gonna wipe the hard drive of my old laptop, or I'm gonna repurpose some old wiring and sell it, or like try and sell it for scrap because someone might need that. Someone might be looking to turn that into a project. I don't know, like I don't want to just merely throw that stuff away. and especially
Mhm.
with cars that are that like if you look at what the military does with a lot of their older aircraft and a lot of their like older tanks and weapons
Mhm.
and stuff, they keep recycling things because they're on a budget. They have to
Yeah.
keep recycling them. They have to keep cannibalizing and taking parts from older models to keep their new ones or current ones running. Why can't
Mhm.
this be a more sustainable option for like it's not even like like say you're doing it for the environment, it's not even environmentally friendly because of look at like the toxic waste that is produced by stockpiling all these unused cars everywhere. It's not really producing anything. Like it's in the consumer's best interest to keep to keep their products and the things they enjoy and consume
Mhm.
running for as long as humanly possible. That's part of the reason why I am so like besides me having a emotional attachment to my car, it like even if my parents are pretty well off, I don't want to get a new car. I want to keep that thing
No.
running as long as possible because logically that's going to save them money, it's going to save me money, it's going to save everyone else money.
Mhm.
And why don't like I just hate this modern sentiment of what is it?
I
Planned
wouldn't say
obsolescence.
modern.
Planned
I would.
obsolescence. I hate
Yeah.
planned obsolescence because
Even then, right? I would still attribute play obsolescence to like I don't want to say boomer consumerism, but it really feels like that. Where yeah, you got a car that runs good, but you still trade it in for something that you didn't need.
yeah,
You know,
that you don't need. Like this is
so it's like you got boomers like era consumerism, right? And planned obsolescence.
yeah, it's just sort of the sort of it just accelerates it accelerates newer, shittier, less quality products
Mhm.
while accelerating the downfall of products that could have had a higher quality if they were well maintained and looked
Mhm.
after. It really is.
And it doesn't help when the government also helps us by mandating like stuff, especially stuff for like diesel trucks, right? We get EGR and DEF fluid now.
What?
Like
Def
it doesn't help when now you got the government mandating stuff for put in the car and everything, like auto stop start and everything.
Oh yeah, because like oh for fuel
Auto
efficiency,
stop start
that will kill
fucks up
engines.
your ignition. It fucks up your starter and everything.
Yeah, my dad's old car, it was a BMW of all things. It had
Oh,
the stop start function. It would like I remember clearly getting it as I think when I was like
hold up.
10 or
You want to
11
know
years old.
something? You want to know something about the stupid auto start stop start feature?
Yeah.
It only saves you $5 over the lifetime.
No, it
It only
adds up.
saves
No,
you
it
five
doesn't.
fucking bucks.
Here's the
Eh,
thing
that's
with
it. That's it.
car start stops. I remember because my dad bought a BMW when I was a little kid. But I still remember it. Still remember it clearly. It was in 2012. And it lasted for a while, but it was the most problematic car of our family. There would be constant ECU issues. There would be constant tire issues.
Mhm.
There would be constant like electronics issues. At one point, it just stops like maybe several years ago before, I think a year
Mhm.
before the pandemic, it just stops in the middle of the road dead. My mom and I had to come rescue him while the tow truck came to like to get rid of his car. It just blew itself apart and the engine
Yeah,
was a
no.
catastrophic failure. ECU could not do anything about it, and I'm pretty sure like that is why I don't trust BMWs anymore. At least consumer BMW. Yeah, sure, it lasted for a long time, but it failed in such a way that was unsafe for my dad, unsafe for the drivers around him, unsafe for the car itself, and like unable to be repaired.
Oh,
It
yeah, it's
was it
like
was just one of those things that like who came up with the idea that allowed this to happen? Like, have they not realized? Especially with
Mhm.
I remember like I just know that starting and stopping is probably it's the most stress you can put on a car, right? It's not
Mhm.
idling, it's not high speed, it's starting and stopping.
Yeah, it's like auto stop start's just the dumbest thing ever. And it's up there with like diesel like EGR systems.
And I remember, I think a friend of mine also said one of his criticisms of the whole start stop mandate is that like keep like having the car at high intensity operation when you're supposed to leave it idle. When you're supposed to leave it idling in traffic, it's not gonna be good for the engine harmonics because that stuff vibrates bad and adds up.
Hey Felix, I just checked
Yeah.
Marketplace. Guess what I just found?
Wait, what is it?
I just found that at the top of my Marketplace I saw the rebadged Ford Taurus like Lincoln.
Wait, the rebadge. Wait, where the rebadge?
Yeah, the one that we're talking about that almost went in NASCAR.
Oh man, like with the big nose.
Yep.
Oh man. Oh man. But yeah, going back to the movie clip, I guess to gush over this car a little bit more.
Machine. Terminator. Cyberdyne Systems Model 101.
Hopefully I
Bro,
don't
he
get
said the same.
copyright.
He said the same.
Hopefully I don't get copyright struck. This is the seeing it because again, this is on the LA streets, on the LA highway, and this massive car is still capable of drifting and being so great. Like it's graceful for such a big and lumbering car. It is graceful. It is graceful in the hands of the right driver.
Like a robot?
Not a robot. Cyborg. Cybernetic
Oh yeah,
organism.
they're the contact at the end.
Just a second.
Yeah, and you see that the comparison with the Dodge Monaco. These were of the era, and you can see the I think the bus is even older, like probably a '60s model in the '80s.
Get your head down!
Yeah, I think the LAPD cars were supposed to be Dodge Monacos. What do they use now? What are they?
LAPD.
Yeah, LAPD.
Most likely the Dodge Charger. I'm 99% sure that Dodge still produces the Dodge Charger, right? Literally, like the older model, literally just for law enforcement.
Oh yeah, for the state trooper and the police interceptor.
Yep. Like
Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah, this shot of the Ford Galaxy, not the Ford Galaxy, the Ford Custom 500, the big where is it? The Custom 500. I'm trying to find it. I think it was supposed to be the Ford Custom that he was driving, either that or the later model Galaxy. Yeah, I think I think it was supposed to be the Galaxy that Reese is driving. The older model Galaxy with the big grill, the big hood, and everything, and this sort of ability to again these of a big car in a little city, and it was still viable. Well, not there, of course.
No.
Not there. But yeah, that's and I think also yeah, starting back the VGM back up again. This was that's what I wanted to look at. I don't know how much I could play from other stuff like Christine or Lockdown, like from Amazon, before I get copy struck. But yeah, these were and one of the things I liked about Gran Turismo Lockdown is it exposed me to so much of my own my own like car culture that I wasn't familiar with before. Of course, I love all the muscle cars, but I also I have to remember the the PT Cruiser was featured in the fucking as the bad car, and the Pontiac Aztek and the Chrysler Voyager.
I think like as much as a PT Cruiser gets spoken about, I don't think as much gets talked about as like GM's like identity crisis with all this like non-truck, non-car stuff in like the early 2000s.
Hold on, I'm gonna see if I can pull something up. It's I think well, you wanted me to review a car, a race, so we're gonna do that. Goodwood, Goodwood Festival.
Oh yeah.
Goodwood Classic Racing. Between the David v Goliath, the Ford Galaxy versus the British Mini.
Hold that up real quick. I want
Yeah,
to.
I'm gonna I want to show this off because it really shows the sort of very
I think it's.
the big divide between
Hold on, scroll up. I think I saw it. I think I saw like the Impala in the background. Yeah, right there.
oh this one. Oh,
No, right there. I think you saw the
oh, I want to look at this one
Oh,
first.
right there. Yeah.
The mini versus the Galaxy.
Yep.
Oh man, we got another ad.
There's
There we go. Yeah, you see like
Mhm.
all these Jaguars in the front.
Yup.
You got the Cortina, and you have this gigantic Ford Galaxy going down the
Mhm.
track. You could see like even with these fancier cars from the old times, they were still pretty small
Oh yeah, you can see like
compared to the sheer bulk of the Galaxy.
Yep.
Oh man. Compared to the Mini.
I think the thing about like the Mini is because it's smaller, right? It probably takes the corners probably a lot better.
Yeah. But this was
Yeah,
when
cause
this was pre-Malaise when they actually
yep,
had the big ass engines, so the
yep.
Galaxy can still keep up, and it's
Oh
faster
yeah.
in a straight line because of the higher with the greater
Mhm.
engine power.
Yep.
And just
I wonder though if the Mini probably got better. I was gonna say better like draft, right? But like that thing just fell right off.
yeah, at least the Galaxy's a little bit more angled,
Mm-hmm.
and you can see yeah they're not it's not impossible for these things to go fast. But what was the
Yeah.
what was the one with the Impala that you wanted me to see? Is it
I
this
think
one?
it's what I
The
think it's that one right there.
little versus large fight. I don't know if we're gonna.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for those
Probably.
unfamiliar, this is in the UK. This is
Yep.
British, but they have a
Yeah.
lot of American cars. Is that a '71 Mustang in the back?
I want to see. So,
What's this one?
what
This
the?
silver car.
I'm I'm at a lost words. I don't know.
That's a Jensen Interceptor. That's a Mini.
I
I
don't
don't
know
know
what
what
that
that one
is.
is, but I know it's American.
It might. It could be Australian. 'Cause
It
I
could
just don't recognize that car.
this one, this one
Yeah.
right here. Oh, it might be. Yeah, it might be
I
Australian.
I don't recognize it. Oh damn.
Huh. And you can just tell the nationalities of each car. Yeah, we have a good shot. We have a good look at this one. Could you get anything from this?
What the fuck is that?
Oh, I'm gonna take a screenshot and I'm gonna save this because we don't know what this car is. It looks like a Ford. It looks like something Ford would produce of the era, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Um, let me send it to you. Oh,
All right. Yeah. Because I can really pop. I can pop that in there real fast.
um, yeah, I think there it is. It's uploaded. Um,
Okay. I recognize some of the designs, but like I have to look at it real quick. 1 second.
yeah, that's another. I think that's another Interceptor, and that massive. Is that an Impala that you saw
The
in here? That
Impala, the
there's a
one back
Ford
there. I want.
Cortina behind the
Oh, that
Mustang.
413.
Mini, but at the moment it's the 1.6 litre Alfa Romeo Giulia, which is
Oh, that's an Alfa Romeo.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
that's an Alfa
Okay, it
Romeo.
is a. Okay, so that's a Plymouth Barracuda.
Oh wait, the one that I showed you.
Yep. Yep. Okay, so
That's
it is American. It's just a really I didn't expect it.
a really early model
It's a
Barracuda,
65. Yeah.
a '65 Barracuda.
up
Mhm.
against the Plymouth Barracuda 4.6.
Yeah, that's yeah, you're right.
Oh yeah.
Driven by Jake Hill, but
It's,
Alex
that car is
Wait,
such a mind fuck though, because it's like yeah, I see that little Jaguar.
and I saw the because I mistook that's an Alfa Romeo. I mistook that
Oh,
for
is
the
it?
Mustang.
Oh, okay. I
I
see.
mistook that for the where is that the second generation? No, the from not it wasn't this. It was the one without the
Wait.
Mustang 1971. Not the. No, it wasn't. No,
Try
I'm trying to find the
69. Try 67.
No, yeah, this one. This is what I confused the Alfa Romeo
Oh,
for because
okay,
of
yeah.
this, because of the that big wide grille with the
Mhm.
recessed headlights. So I got a little bit confused.
I see that now, yeah.
Brundle, take a look, he's framing it around the outside of Jake Hill, and he's done it.
See how big compared to the Italian and British cars, how big the American ones are.
That Plymouth Barracuda is just such a mindfuck, though.
Yeah,
It's like it don't look the American.
this is
Okay,
there's
that's
is that the
that's
Galaxy or the Impala?
I think that might be a Ford.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's a
look at
Galaxy. I think that's a Galaxy. What's the
That.
this
Oh,
one?
I'm gonna go on a limb and say that might be an AMC. Wait, hold on. That's a Plymouth.
The blue one?
Yeah, click on it real quick.
I'm zoomed in.
Or I meant click on the video real fast.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me
Now coming under pressure though from Alex Brundle. Can Brundle challenge for the lead here? Bunker.
That's a Plymouth.
Oh, that's a Plymouth. Oh, okay.
I think one of those back there might be an Impala.
We have another Galaxy. Oh,
Oh,
oh.
God.
Oh, we got. Oh, we got. Oh, I'll have to go.
He just sued President Trump and
almost.
Oh, no, shut up. Get away from me, politics.
Has fallen back a
We'll cut that out. We'll cut that out later.
Between Frank Stimpler in the Alfa Romeo ahead of Alex Brundle.
We'll cut that out later.
Coming back at them and roars past Brundle.
Oh wow, that Plymouth is pushy.
It looks like an oversized, like, well, it's like the first car there, right? But oversized.
Brundle's coming back ahead as well. Can he fit a mini-size shape down the side
Yeah,
of
that
the
Barracuda
lovely Plymouth on the inside?
it's American, but don't look American.
Yeah, it doesn't look American
Stimpler holds on.
necessarily. No, it kind of does. I would argue it does. It just doesn't look familiar. It looks like something. I don't know why I was thinking Edsel, but it kind of looks like the grille design kind of reminded me.
Kinda.
There's the 214 Andrew Jordan in the Alpha Julia, who's made his way up from 9th on the grid, so he's fighting in fourth spot. Jay getting
And you can see these big land yachts are keeping pace with the tiny, with the minis and the crowd and the Cortinas in the crowd.
in the background, who's just about managed to stay out of the barrier.
Like this kind of racing that I would love to watch in real life because of not just because of the beauty of the old cars, but how unstable and informal everything is. It really does look like it looks crazy. It looks everything is. I don't know how to say it.
Yeah. Oh, I think. Oh yeah, let me repost those like 2 images I posted earlier about NASCAR in your DMs, right? To feel your malaise watching them.
Yeah.
In his Morris Mini Cooper, currently just ahead of Andrew Jordan and Andy.
I think I'm just gonna skip around. Oh, that's another. Yeah, it's interesting to notice that some of these cars are American imports because they have the because this takes place in Britain, but they have it on the right side.
Stands with Prio at the moment.
In the epic, that big Plymouth going down the line.
Yep. I know that's
and this little car has to fight along the Cortinas and the Galaxies for a spot.
The track and then
Where
sweeps Jimmy Johnson to rub salt into the wound.
Yeah, he manages to get it stopped
Oh
just in time.
yeah, I forgot Jimmy Johnson racing this.
Brundle
You know who that is?
top 10 now.
Oh yeah, the name's familiar. He was in NASCAR, right?
Yeah, he drove the 48 for many years, right? He's the other 7-time champion.
Oh, he's the other 7-time champion. And another good shot that they get. I think this is the Impala you're looking for. It could be a Galaxy. But that's another one of the
Marcel Fassler is makes his way up from the back of the grid.
Yeah, it's
you look how little the Mini is compared to the American cars.
Yeah, it's small. Yeah, that's fine. I don't think
It's getting overtaken. It's fighting for this while this big Galaxy chases it. Yeah, I think the Galaxy after the doxing incident. Well, I'll have to get rid of that. I'll have to get rid of that. Oh man, there's I think that's a DB4 or DB5 Aston Martin. Well, we'll watch this one in full.
I'm actually always on eBay looking at car parts.
Oh, that's a racing ad. I know what that is.
And make it completely mine.
Yeah, that's Lando Norris, but it's an unskippable ad.
Find the rest of it. Thanks for watching. Go find the things that you love.
But yeah, I think I told you a lore about what NASCAR did earlier, right? But like basically because the oil embargo, right? They shortened like a lot of the races in '74.
Oh, they reduced the number of laps.
Yeah, because the Daytona 500, which is normally 200, was 180.
Yeah, let's take a look at this will be our last one before we sign off because I really want to look at this one.
Right. Sam Tordoff from the back of the grid up into 13th place, so 12.
Seeing these massive galaxies fight for.
But look who's coming, Sam Tordoff in the Grunt and Go Galaxy now unleashes all of the horses. Here he comes, and he just strolls on by, gets past Tim Lazel.
Yeah, these things were fast. It just it didn't mean they were lumbering and slow. They could be capable of high performance.
NASCAR for a reason when they were there.
Yeah.
Cortina, down they come towards Woodcote. Kerry can break later there. But Sam Tordoff, another couple of places gained on that straight alone. Jonathan Lewis now trying to keep Tim Lazel at bay, so Jonathan hangs on to the pace. He's based these days near Snetterton, where he prepares many a race car, including lots and lots of minis that are here this weekend. On for another
I think that's a BMW. That might be a BMW.
Yeah, it's like, I think
this one.
Yeah, I think
I think that might be a BMW. I'm pretty sure there's a BMW.
Here, so another place to be gained.
Yeah, you can tell British cars and everything else, they're like comically tiny.
What is it?
You can tell British cars from like everything else because they're comically tiny.
Yeah. At least outside of the luxury ones, all the British cars are really small.
It's also got pretty reasonable poise and balance through the corners as well. I expected him to lose out through the tight switchback of the chicane, but he managed to not only hold position but get good propulsion out of it and onto the start-finish straight.
Sam Tordoff on the first lap got past 12 cars. That last lap was a bit disappointing, only got 5.
And they knew that massive Ford Galaxy fighting for place with them. With that little Jaguar, it looks like.
And here comes Tordoff then to the outside of Grant Williams. The Jaguar just about hangs onto the pace. The Welshman keeps the
all
position.
You can do is a smaller, underpowered, more
Sam Tordoff will just
hold
once
off
the car's in a straight line, wave his foot.
In the hands of a better driver, a bigger car, a bigger and heavier car could be to your advantage.
At the throttle, and it will just go charging past.
There we go.
As described, David.
This honestly reminds me a lot of IMSA, endurance racing, because it almost feels multi-class, even though they're all racing on the same ticker.
Yeah. Those I really like. Those are really interesting, especially the really old fashioned Le Mans of that era. They had something like that of the a variety of different cars fighting for the same thing. And I think for a while Porsche was reusing the 911 for multiple races until they had to come up with a new one. In the Le Mans back then.
What's going to be really interesting is now that he's got a little bit of clean air, what kind of pace can Tordoff wring out of his car, and will it be quick enough for him to consider catching the leading pack?
In the mini battle, as it were, it is Nick Swift leading, but Padmore has to see Tordoff go past. So Sam has now got himself up into 6th place from the back of the grid. But Nick Padmore, of course, doesn't bother to break it. Tordoff almost ends up in the boot.
That was nearly on
He's
the door.
trying to get that mini from drafting
Fantastic
pin.
stuff. So that catches you out a bit. The Galaxy has to break
Oh yeah,
so much earlier. The
really
Mini can
tight
carry all of
corner
that
right
speed
there,
into the
like
corner.
that little.
Now Sam Tordoff gets away. The poor Galaxy
I can't
500
remember
falls
the
clear.
technical term for it, but like that, just that
A technical
right and
term?
left. Yeah, that one that he came just off of and everything, right?
Yeah.
That got to be really skilled for like that big ass boat right there.
Yeah, you got like that's where driving a land yacht becomes a serious like that's where it becomes a threat.
So he's up into the top 6. Next target, Nick Swift. So Nick's busy trying to get past the Cortina, but in fourth now, Mike Jordan and Sam Tordoff. Sam for the podium here is a real possibility. One of the great drives of the weekend. This. So nose to tail they run. There's traffic ahead. There is Sam Tordoff then in that third place, having got past Mike Jordan. Saunter away in a straight line. Let's try and piece all this together. So this is Tordoff in the traffic. And
You do look at that tire. Oh shit! He's off the field. Jaguar spun out.
Getting a little bit
The Galaxy went off the field as with the mini was following.
You can't see the exit until you're there.
This is the kind of racing I would love to watch.
In the middle of it.
I think it was Richard Butterfield's car that had the spin. There is Sam Tordoff then recovering.
Oh,
He's just got
that drift there, that little slide.
So he's got to do some of the hard work all over.
Oh, there's that corner coming up. That nearly hit his car. That siding nearly hit his car.
At the chicane, but now there's nothing he can do about that.
Driver.
Just gonna
good job from Tim Laser. Here's Tordoff up the inside into the right-hander of St. Mary's.
Oh yeah, because they're like I think it's all on one thing, right? They're basically going to wear out those tires over like the laps and everything.
It's got better handling.
It is Speed Week. I don't know what Speed Week is over there, but I think it's kind of like.
I think it's it's sort of like.
So there's one of the Cortinas about to fall victim. So that's
like
another place getting back for Sam Tordoff. Remember, we were talking about the podium for him earlier on. He's going to do it all over again. Look at the way that he's closing on Mike Jordan as they get towards Woodcote, but of course he has to brake so much earlier. Kind of hits a metaphorical barrier. We can't get any closer because he's
One thing you do see is because of the extra weight on the tires, there's a lot more friction between him and the ground.
Look at the Cortina close and now wait for that gap to open up again as all the power kicks in.
What a fantastic aerial shot. You can see exactly what we've been talking about, the different characteristics of these various cars, each with their own strengths and weaknesses. Galaxy absolutely.
Yeah, that what he pointed out, what the announcer pointed out, is what I love so much in these cars. Oh, what is that? What is this one?
Ooh, I actually don't. I thought it was originally a Plymouth, but what the fuck is it? Because it's American. That's what I know.
It's clearly American, but it doesn't look like any American car we've seen. With the with the headlights recessed into the grill.
Yeah. Wait for a little bit, just so I can see the side.
Oh, you want me to? Oh, it's a Plymouth.
Yep, Plymouth. Yeah.
It's a Plymouth.
I was like that. I remember seeing that block like lettering, right? Because I seen that on like because I know a lot of NASCAR drivers back in like the 60s and early 70s used to do that, right?
Oh yeah.
Like, oh yeah, we were like on Plymouth or Dodge and shit.
Oh, they would put the brand name on the car.
Yeah.
Yeah, from the back, that looks familiar.
Not necessarily, but I just knew from like the lettering on the side, like gotta be Plymouth or something.
5 seconds of the race remain. Can we squeeze another lap out of it? Sam Tordoff wants another lap because that will help his chances of getting by. Mike Jordan then under attack.
Oh, he's off the... Yeah, he keeps getting off the track, but he holds, he's holding.
Throttlers who came out of Lavin will have had to lift off significantly to gather that up, which he does, but loses momentum on Jordan. Power of the Galaxy will help him close that gap down, but for now Jordan is safe into Woodcote. We've got 13 seconds remaining. They might just squeeze their way over the start-finish line to give us one more lap.
Clock ticks on down. The leader has gone by, so there onto the last lap. Wilmot leading by 2.5 seconds. Mike Jordan hangs on to third. Sam Tornoff is almost there behind him then. He's been up ahead of Mike Jordan once in this race. He's got to find half a second and then get past the Cortina. Well, the half a second is gobbled up at the end of the pit straight as they go into Management Corner. The two of them almost together with now less than a lap to go.
Absolutely fantastic stuff. Now, Tordoff needs to keep it neat and tidy, because if he can maintain, at the very least, this gap. Oh, and he goes down the outside using all of the power of the Galaxy. Has to
well, it just wasn't enough. Just barely wasn't enough.
Not going to be a particularly comfortable place for Tordoff to position his car. Jordan, meanwhile, takes the defensive inside line into St Mary's. Gathers it all up.
I love how close everything is. And because these aren't stock cars, these are just regular cars. It would be in real danger if they collided, even though in like American racing, collisions are basically a part of life. In here, it's no touch or like something bad will happen. And the fact that they can get that close while not doing that is so cool.
He's closing.
Yeah,
he's closing. He's up alongside.
He hit the sign.
Coming through, he says to Mike Jordan.
He hit the sign.
Sam Tornoff, brass and all, goes third on the last lap of the St Mary's Trophy.
Oh, which one is that one? This one in the front.
that's European for sure.
It's going to be a win for Adrian Wilmot, who comes towards the timing line. He takes the checkered flag to win a really lively race. Bill Shepherd second, and for third, it is Tornoff just ahead, but he's going to be slow out of the chicane. Mike Jordan right on the tail, but from the back of the grid to third. One of the drives of the weekend for Sam Tornoff. Brilliant stuff.
But yeah, man, this has been great. This has been really fun. I'm glad to have you on.
Yeah.
Anyway, this has been this session of Mechanical Marvels. Thank you everyone who came. Thank you Dantiok Fanboy, thank you Crispy Chips, and thank you Mr. Krabs, and anyone else who decided to join but like lurked. This is our native friend here. This is Gray Zoomer, Mr. Ford Motor Company, or Gray Zoomer, aka Terrible Artists. my biggest fan and my biggest hater. I'm glad to have you on. To be clear, this isn't just like a thing that like I brought him on. We've known each other before I started PNG tubing.
Yeah,
and it's been really fun having him on.
We've known each other since like for a while now.
Yeah, for a while. We've been online friends for maybe like almost a year, I think, at this point, because of we met in the Phase Connect Discord.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of the new invaders, going back to like the VTuber side?
I swear, I'm not bullshitting this. I swear, guys, I saw someone predict the new phase invaders.
I know, because here's the thing. For a solid, like, for the entirety of when they announced the invaders to now, like, up until today, this morning, I was like, these are going to be new, like, these are going to be new VTubers. There's going to do, like, an all separate, they're going to be new. There's going to be, like, a frog mascot. There's going to be a bee mascot, like, frogs and bees.
Look outside. I was like, what the fuck's going on? You're picking up a dumpster.
Oh, okay.
Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Yeah, but like I was caught blind. None of the not like what if you followed me on Twitter.
I necessarily didn't believe like the predictions that some people like would post, right? Like, but like,
ooh, it's Gura. Ooh, it's Fauna. Ooh, it's Mume.
Like,
no, it's not.
But I swear the one prediction I saw that it was like dead on accurate. I was like, what the? I'm trying to think back. I was like trying to find it, and I was like, bro, I'm not crazy. Somebody did predict this.
I
thought it was gonna be some like nobody had never heard of.
I can't believe Sleepo got in. Yeah, because like, no offense to Sleepy, because I really love her. I'm aware she tried. I'm aware that Sleepy tried to get in as a Phase Invader multiple times in the past and just couldn't get in. It was like she just couldn't get in for one reason or another. She was the most plausible choice. I didn't see her she came out of nowhere. She came out of like she was the most plausible choice. Mari and Cleo, I don't know where the.
I still think that's like completely out of left field though. Like Mari and Cleo is like what?
Like yeah, like because yeah, they interact a lot with the Phase talents, but they're indies. They are like big name indies. And here's the thing: for the most part, I forgot that Jelly, Lumi, And Jelly, Lumi, and Ember are original characters, and that but they're open about who they were. Like Jelly hasn't told us who she was in the past, in the past life, but
Oh
um,
yeah, yeah,
but
it's
um,
wild.
we know Embers and we know Dizzy's. And of course, Lumi has been Lumi since before Phase Connect, and
Yeah,
I
Lumi's
forgot
Lumi.
that Lumi is supposed to be the precedent where they bring in established VTubers wholesale instead of remaking them like they did the other invaders. So I thought these like the new invaders were going to be original characters. They were going
I
to be OCs.
all I can say about like these new invaders, right? It's definitely Fishman adding on to his stockpile, basically.
Like yeah, like it's it's insane. Like to me, it's insane because again,
Mm-hmm.
these are already Clea, Sleepy is like I guess she's always been an
Sleepy,
established
yeah,
indie.
they're all pretty
Sleepy makes
like
sense because
massive.
she's had a long running relationship with Face Connect, even if unaffiliated. But Cleo and Mari are straight
Oh yeah,
up like yeah, but
yeah. It's like what, huh?
what? Yeah, for first off, Mari is part of Mythic Talent. Mari is
Yeah,
still part of Mythic Talent, and she
I'm pretty
said
sure Mythic is like more like a loose thing, but like it's still like what, huh?
she's still apparently according to her Twitter, she still is a part of Mythic Talent. Um
Yeah, I wonder if Mythic, yeah, doesn't Mythic Town also like have
I think
like IRL streamers and
they
shit
have
too in there?
some yeah, they have IRL as
I
well.
imagine that's just like a what's a networking kind of deal there.
Um and Cleo is part of her own thing, a Version, which is an Australian
Australian
the Australian VTuber group, kind of like
yeah,
Vitere, but Australian. And it's just like, so is she leaving that? Is she just joining FaZe as an affiliate or
I don't
something
know, I
like?
don't
Well,
know.
she's joining as a full invader. But like, what happens to the other Australian group that she was working
Yeah, I
with?
have not it's questions that
Like,
probably we don't know the answer for that have already been answered behind the scenes.
yeah, that like we know it. Like they know what's going on. Just like everyone in the audience is in the dark
But
because
yeah, no, like
no
yeah,
one knows.
I'm at a loss of words.
Yeah, I know. Absolute curveball from the fish, Dantioch. I know Jelly's PL, and you know what? I'm gonna end off on like self-promoting this stupid meme that I made, where it's American Made, the Tom Cruise movie. Shitty meme time, where it's just like where Sakuna is just like off his fucking rocker.
Yeah,
I don't know what
this
he's
whole
on.
thing, like Sakuna pulled off the art of the deal, and he's clearly just adding on to his stock, basically.
Yeah. And it is like it's interesting because it like FaZe is paving new ground. Like companies generally don't do this. They don't grab established indies like unless you're kind of like unless you're like Videre or V
Yeah,
Shoujo where it's where the entire model is grabbing big indies. Um
yeah. The only time I've seen stuff like this is literally just sports.
yeah,
It's,
this generally
eh,
doesn't
but
happen.
but yeah, guys, guess what? We got LeBron in Phase Connect now.
Bro.
The day we ironically get LeBron VTuber is gonna be over.
I'm just hoping like what I would consider to be like well Corpo VTubing well unfortunately with girl yeah this is the one I wanted to show off.
Hmm.
Canadian it's not a felony if you're doing it for your Oshi. But yeah with the but the whole thing what was I trying to say? I feel before my biggest fear was something a Western VTuber company started by a group like Disney or Amazon or something like that, or like instead of like a homegrown corpo, it's a super corpo that's entering the VTubing space,
Hmm.
kind of like with what Sony did with
Yeah,
I think with that one of the project versions, Mollington mentioned it a lot.
you know what?
That his
Hold on.
main Oshi was was from a Sony VTuber company. But I feel like with Niji has torpedoed itself. It is like dead in the water. Hololive is currently sinking. If you couldn't
Yeah,
understand,
Brave.
it is currently rapidly
But
taking on water after like
Brave is like the one thing I do like about Brave is like they're like a secret third like corpo because
yeah,
they're fucking everywhere, but nobody ever thinks about them until shit actually
they're
hits the
supposed
fan. One of their groups.
they're like you don't know like I guess another using another Disney analogy, they're kind of like you don't know Fox or ABC or FX is owned by Disney, but they are.
Yeah, you
And
don't know
like it's
Fox.
all like all these different production companies when making movies or making TV
You
shows,
don't know that
it's secretly under
20th
this
Fox
big
is
this
Disney.
big well-known company, but there's like obscurance deals, business deals. I think it was like for example, Disney bought the rights to The Rock, as in the movie with Sean Connery and Nick Cage, but it was produced. I think it was Touchstone Pictures. That's what they
I
used to
bet you.
make.
Yeah,
That's what
I
they
bet you
used to
guys
make
don't
like
know.
adult
I bet you
movies.
guys don't know that Disney bought out LucasArts.
Oh yeah, everyone knows that.
I
Everyone
can't
fucking knows
even.
that.
I can't even bullshit about that.
But yeah, it's like yeah, I could definitely see. Dantioch says I could definitely see Disney coming out with Disney Princess for YouTubers. Oh well,
They will get Disney VTubers. I feel like just that's the thing. That I feel like Disney would be too much.
That was my fear before, but
Disney
now
would probably
those are kind
if
of
they were
assuaded because VTubing is growing while VTuber corpos are
yeah
shrinking.
they've definitely lost the chance to jump on it as a fad.
Yeah, agency VTubing like after Girl left yesterday, agency VTubing is officially like it is entered the golden age is over. It's over. It's not coming back at least for a
Yeah,
while. And like
yeah,
and
no.
Phase has managed to stay the way they are by flying under the radar. Like because
Yeah,
despite
I'm yeah. Looking at like every other company, I'm just shocked that phases like still say
it's because they're
relatively.
small. It's because they're really comparatively small. They're not mega corpos like Niji or Hololive,
Well, I
and
think my
like
thing is like talent retention. Like
yeah, talent retention as well. Their main focus like this is why I wanted to warn like Fishman from growing too fast. And in other terms, like I guess in our section where like because as someone who wants to be a full-fledged male
yeah,
VTuber,
the day we see Phase Connect host Broadway plays, it's over.
I mean, like the current only other small options are Vita and Socks. Well, we didn't of course when Socks started, we thought it would be a joke. We
I'm
didn't
gonna check
actually think
Vita real quick. I have a sneaking suspicion that's owned by Brave.
which one.
Oh
Socks?
fuck. Not Sock. Well, fuck. I don't think Socks is owned by them.
But yeah, it's like Socken has been flying under the radar, trying to like. Of course, he's pushing himself out there, but he's trying to avoid drama by simply not growing his
Oh
company
yeah,
too
I
far.
do find it wild that it's like only you've only had like one massive kind of drama in like the past like
We have one termination, one graduation, and that's like then that's
yeah,
clear, and that like
and the
that for
graduation
so far, touch wood, touch
yeah, the
wood.
graduation wasn't even like I don't wasn't like entirely like company related. As like
I'm
I guess
hoping Saya
personal stuff,
comes
you
back
know.
at some point. I'm hoping
Oh
Saya.
yeah,
I'm praying that Saya comes back because she's like, even though I didn't watch her that much, she's just really fun to be around. Like, I
yeah.
like her energy, I like her positivity,
Mhm.
and I just miss that, man. I just really miss that. But at least we're glad to have Hina back. The hot bird
Oh
is
yeah,
back, and we're glad to have her back. That I'm genuinely thankful for.
yeah,
But unlike, I guess most of this is on the female side. On the male side, again, I'm not advocating for Sakuna to get males or start a male branch. It would conflict with the company culture. I say this as a phase fan and
yeah.
as a male tuber. If I was gonna be recruited into Phase Connect, I would be a liability. I would not be an asset. it
Yeah,
would not
yeah.
go over well. Like
Yeah.
men.
If I was allowed to become a male ENV tour for phase, it would be like Diddy 2.0.
I would not be able to keep my eyes off my Yoshi. That's like I guess that's really the thing. And men like male tubers need their own space to grow, to really grow.
Yeah.
I've been promoting Vealer because like they're one of the few like loot like I have nothing against loot tubing in like by itself. It just happens
Mhm.
that a lot of loot tubers are pieces of shit like Project Melody, Fifi, Cottontail. I'm not like yeah, like I am naming names, but I'm just not fond of them. Vealer is probably the only ones that are like I agree like I'm agreeable with them and they're interesting. They don't have to rely on the sex appeal where they can just VTube normally.
Mhm.
I remember one of my favorite clips. I need to start uploading clips again. I'm not gonna be like I should be doing that. Um I should be doing that. But one of my few but favorite clips of Chibi Cotton Bum talking is that the male
Mhm.
model could be successfully applied from Vealer and from Phase Connect into a male agency. They just need to keep females separate. And honestly, if an agency like that existed, I would or a group existed, I would be glad to join
Mhm.
and that kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, overall, my announcement for is that this coming week, this week through next week, I'm gonna be streaming a lot more. I might try for a gorilla tomorrow. I might not, depending on conditions. Um, Sundays will be a film for Sunday. I will be streaming Sunday. It'll be a film freak out after this.
Poggers?
The new there. I'm gonna be reviewing the new Marvel slop. There's new Marvel slop, and I actually want to see it this time. The Thunderbolts. I want to see Thunderbolts. I want to see my boy
Mm.
John Walker. Shut up! Stop typing that in chat. You fucking pervert! Leave me alone. You fuck you. I'm not reading that. I'm not
Your
reading
honor.
that.
Plead the fifth, your honor.
I had enough. This is chat. Is this Fujo bait? Is this Fujo baiting?
What do you mean
Am I
Fujo?
attracting the
What do you
Fujos?
mean
Am
Fujo
I
bait?
am I attracting am I attracting the Fujos?
What do you
Am I attracting the Fujos? Am I? Oh, we're being gay on stream. He's being gay on stream. Oh, there's gay on stream. There's gay on streaming. But yeah, I will next week I think I might be trying to like no plans are finalized yet. I do want to get
Alright.
more collabs going because I have a free schedule. I have free time that I can actually like continue streaming late and collabing late where I can like actually collab with people. So I would be open to if anyone is interested, I would be open to doing more of
Bro, if
those.
you think about it,
Yeah.
all your streams are basically a giant collab with me and chat.
Yeah. Yeah, cuz like for a long time you're the only guy chatting.
Especially you remember when I told you about how bottoms clean
For
themselves?
fuck's sake. Yes. Yes, I do remember. I do remember that V11 Hollis stream where
Yeah.
fucking you came in during that emotional scene and said like, "Ooh, this is how bottoms clean their anus."
Pretty sure I did that
Fuck!
unprompted too. I just said that shit.
You just did. Yeah, you just did.
I just said that shit and hung out.
Yeah, that was fun. That was great. Yeah, I would be glad to do like I am looking at some like people who are VTubers or PNG tubers of their own, but if anyone wants to go hop in on something
Yeah,
that I have planned later
yeah,
on, I would be glad to. I would
Diane, yeah, collab with this homie.
yeah. Anyways, I got big things going on, but thank you all for coming. Thank you terrible artist for joining with me. And
You're
thank you everyone
welcome.
who came. O2 love and I'll see you guys on Sunday. Thank you guys.